Welcome everybody to Sunset City, the Sonic podcast for the modern and classic age. With me today, we have Wayne.
GoldenEye was only good for its time.
And also the big pair of unsettling breasts over there, we got Nick.
You know, I was having a pretty good day, pretty good morning, but I came across a discovery, and I gotta say I'm deeply disappointed in everybody in this room. And everybody listening right now.
And then on the far right, in a multitude of ways, we have Suris.
Wait, so we're not actually going to ask Nick for clarification on that one. Nor are we going to let Wayne's GoldenEye opinion just kind of sit there and simmer. Is that how we're beginning the show? Really?
I think Pup already knows that I'm about to say something incredibly stupid.
And then at some point we'll have Gilly, but right now he's caught in the snow. So
he got ran over by a car. He's Gilly the Skid currently.
Gilly got ran over by a reindeer.
I whooped Gilly's ass! I whooped Gilly's ass! Oh, God.
Is it weird that stupid fucking those songs, even the one that's not Rock and Roll McDonald's, still makes me want McDonald's? Is there something wrong with me?
I think that's called nostalgia, and I think you are prey.
Yeah. I am a Sonic fan.
I'm a Wesley Willis fan, man. Like, reused assets are my jam. Fuck yeah. So today...
Can I call you Wesley William going forward?
Just dox me, why don't you? Oh, Jesus. Nobody knows my name. Nobody.
Nobody ever, no.
So I guess Gilly's just gonna come in and be like, oh man, I got stuck at McDonald's like 10 minutes into this, so I guess we should always kind of get started.
What is that voice? What is that voice for Gilly?
I don't know, he's just got that New York sort of sound, you know?
You don't... Right.
I love that he just defaults and like we never properly talk about it. But I'm just
bullshit today, you know?
I'm like just a creepy, angry old Russian, I guess.
Hello there, I'm Nick. My hands are a little full right now, so please don't ask too much of me.
His name is NekoSuris Benjamin. He wishes to tell you he apologized for happen.
No, not NekoSuris.
Much apologize for game.
Much apologize for game.
Sorry for happen.
I am a very good bad game.
So
Sorry, go on. Sorry, Bob. I did want to say...
yeah, go on.
As soon as this cat gets away from my ring light, Jesus Christ. We do also have, if you guys are comfortable with it, we do have an announcement on the show.
By all means.
So, for everybody who is watching and copiously throws super chats at us, which we are always thankful for, as y'all know, we answer those at the end of the show, but... there is something, another way y'all could actually support the show if you want now. We have just now, as of today, opened up the Sunset City tip jar, which is the Sunset City Patreon page. There's currently 3 tiers on there. The first tier, for $1, gives you access to the Sunset City Discord, where you can come in and... I don't know what all of you are going to do there, and I'm kind of scared, honestly, knowing this community.
Don't worry about that. They've already made a very successful hidden fucking Discord page that none of us are on. So they'll do great. They'll do great. Don't even worry about it.
Okay. Yeah. My fears are not yet alleviated, but you know what? It's fine. However, the other two...
no children in there, by the way. No kids allowed.
It's an 18 plus thing.
Yeah, please, if you are coming in, comport yourselves like
I
an
don't
adult
want to talk to
and
fucking
be an
babies.
adult.
We ain't babysitters, Mal, alright? So fucking...
We also...
if you give us money, be grown up about it, alright?
I ain't going to jail for you! Not again!
We also have another tier on there. Second tier, $5 a month. That makes you a Nilk Bro.
I forgot!
So... Nilk Bros also gain access to the ability to vote for topics for upcoming episodes. So if there is a Sunset City episode that you have been wanting desperately, you can put suggestions in, and then we will add in a poll probably once a month on there so that we can figure out what fan-suggested episode y'all will get. You'll also be given a mailbag question area. If you remember... ages ago, we used to do the Sunset City mailbag where people would send in a whole bunch of questions.
Fantastic.
It was fantastic. Where we used to answer fan questions that way before doing super chats. So this time, we want to kind of bring that back and have that at the beginning of episodes. So if you've got any requests or questions or anything like that, this would be the tier to have that happen, and that will happen before super chats, so it'll happen earlier on in the show. The last tier we have is
well, hang on. Before you do that, we got to clarify that like it's like a question per month.
Oh
right?
yeah, you get one question a month.
Yeah, because otherwise otherwise the entire show's just gonna be questions.
Yeah,
and we already have the Bumblecast for that.
And it is written down here specifically that a few of these will be read at the beginning of every episode. So we may not be able to get to all of them if there's enough questions that are thrown in here, but eventually everything will be answered in there as it goes through.
And yes, Webster, it's real. It's a real Patreon I'm talking about.
It is
We
a real
ain't
Patreon.
kidding.
Not hard to tell with us, isn't it?
Yeah.
The last tier is I don't know why we agreed on this one in the meetings, but it's Linda.
Linda.
It's Linda.
You
If
now
you-
can be our Linda.
You can be Linda.
Linda. You don't get any burger from us.
Linda, we need to get more meat from the burgers.
Be thankful you don't get a burger.
My beef is expensive.
I wonder if I could get away. No promises. I wonder if I could get away with drawing a new horrifying burger every month for them. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Like, burger.
Burger.
If you are on this tier, then your name will be shouted out at the beginning of every episode by one of the members here. If your favorite member does not shout it out, suck it up, deal with it. And then on a bi-weekly basis, we will be doing post-show hangouts that will be hosted on Fridays after the regular show. These will be in the Discord, the same Discord that everybody will have access to by being a Patreon or being a patron. Not every member of the cast will always be able to be there for every post-show hangout, just like not every member of the cast is always able to be here for every show. But on a bi-weekly basis, we will be hosting those there. So if you want a chance to hang out with us and not be weird about it, that's a way to do it.
I just love the suck it up, deal with it mentality. It really sums up giving money to Sunset City. Suck it up, deal with it, pay your taxes.
Maybe we should have talked about how we were gonna pitch this out, because that could use
This is one
a
aggressive
little workshop
kid.
in there.
This is the most aggressive give me money I've ever heard in my entire life. And that's coming from me.
They will remember Sunset. I'm like it's always sunny. Give money now. Give me money.
If you don't get your money's worth, suck it up and deal with it, bro.
Oh my god.
And be normal. Don't act weird in our servers, you know? Hey, it's Gilly.
Don't be happy.
gone.
Don't be happy.
And as an extra Patreon perk, you actually get to hear Gilly in the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gilly the Kid.
We've unlocked a tier. We got Gilly back.
You get Gilly access.
Yes.
Access to
You guys-
Gilly's
you guys
body.
can hear yours.
Hello,
There he is.
Gilly.
From
It
the
sound-
voice.
It sounds like he's up to his gills in technical difficulties
Yeah, you're
this
so
morning.
quiet, Gilly.
Well, when I-
I'm going to vomit.
Quiet?
Very quiet.
I told you
You're not
it'd
only
come in like
quiet,
this.
it like keeps fading in and out.
Okay, hold
Hi, I'm Gilly the
Okay,
Kid, and
what
I'm here to
about- what
talk
about-
Sonic
shut the fuck up!
bullshit.
on. What about now?
You're still very quiet.
You're pretty
Hold
okay in my end, but yeah, you're a little quiet.
Okay, this is what happens if I turn the noise gate off. And it's...
You sound fine, man.
You sound no fucking different, but I can
Do
I can turn you up,
Okay,
man. I'll turn you up.
That's the problem, is that I'm not turned up.
Turn down for what?
Well, no, bitch. It's just
And
that you're
also-
not at 200% before. You're at 100%.
Well, of course you're not
Hold on.
turned up. It's a little early in the day for that shit.
Hold
Turn.
on. Wait a minute.
Up.
Okay, what about this? Is it any different?
It's no different whatsoever. In fact, it's worse.
Dude, Discord sucks.
What's weird
I
is
know
you're the
that
only
I'm worth
person.
$1 billion, but I know he's
no,
worth
because
a
you know why?
gillion.
You know why I'm the only person? Because Discord expects people to use a fucking blue snowball. That's why.
I'm not using
Using
a
my-
snowball, but okay.
I'm not using a
Yeah.
snowball.
I'm
Yeah,
not
are you-
using a snowball.
I'm making a joke. Are you
as
using
you can
USB?
tell.
Are you, Suris?
Yeah.
Are you using a USB mic?
I'm using USB, but I'm not
Okay.
the only one who's using a. You're not the only one who's using an audio mixer.
No, and the other person who's using an audio mixer constantly has a.
He's not wrong.
So what we've learned is that
any
pro
better
equipment is
these
bad.
days?
Yeah, it's a lot better these days.
I
Point it out when
Gilly,
notice it.
You know
like
what, here you
after
go.
the show.
How about now? Do I
Yeah,
sound
good.
any better
It's
now?
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
How about now?
Oh
Do I
God!
sound
No!
Get off the Xbox Live mic.
You
Oh,
fucking have Uno.
He doesn't. He has the oldest Xbox known to man, Wayne.
You fucking have Uno.
The original prototype, if you will.
Okay, how am I now?
You're fine. You're fine,
I'm
Gilly.
fine.
You're fine.
I'm fine. Wait. What if I do this? How about that? Is that any better?
Is this what you're
It's
like
still
in
doing
bed?
a little bit of the
What
weird,
is
like,
what is this? How many times we say fine and you just don't accept it?
And
What is
you-
the
you-
correct answer?
Because you guys because you know what happens? You guys go, oh, this sounds bad, and then I go, okay, let me fix it. And you, oh, it kind of sounds the same, and then you go, oh, it sounds fine, and nothing changed. So that's why I know that. There's a problem.
your voice is like dipping in and out like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got problems with is it
All right.
okay?
Okay,
Is
and
it
then
right?
here's
Dipping
what
in and
happens
out.
if I-
You might want to see a
here's what
sex
happens-
therapist, Gilly. I'm just saying.
Here's what happens if I shut off the noise gate entirely. This is what it sounds like. Okay, so if I'm dipping out, I'm gonna say I can't say it because that's not allowed anymore.
This
You
is
can't-
this is fine. This is all fine.
That's no. I know what he was gonna say, and thank you for holding yourself back, Gilly.
commit Sudoku.
God. God damn it.
Commit Kotaku.
Commit
Admit-
commit Suicune.
Kotaku.
Sweet
Watch him,
Kuden.
get, watch him get really offended at a dumb joke at MagFest. It's all good. It's fine. I'm glad I was there to witness history.
I just measure drywall with
Well,
my forehead.
okay. To be fair, Mag staff is known for making really, really terrible jokes and then getting backlash for it. So
No, don't get me wrong. I agree that it was kind of stupid, but also I'm just tired. Every time I get on Twitter,
well, that's because
everyone's just
everybody's
mad.
making you. That's because everyone's making you tired
yeah,
because everyone's terrible.
yeah, that's how it
There you
goes.
go. You know what else is terrible?
What's that? Today's
Sonic.
sponsor?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
the pinball game in Sonic
Oh, this video is sponsored by Manscaped. Hello, kiddies. I shave my balls.
My balls.
My balls. Ball
This-
burger.
I wish I still had Manscaped around because I really wanted to do an Amy video where I was going to start off by saying, and speaking of shaving sphinxes, Manscaped.
What a weird song.
Wow, do they not want to work with you again?
Well, no,
They
I
hate
worked with
you.
them. I've worked with them twice now.
Wait,
The
this-
contract's up right now.
This actually reminds me of something. I can't remember who posted it to Twitter. I think it might have been Tenzi or something, but it was like an article from around the time of like Sonic Heroes' release in some gaming magazine. And they had bios for each character, and Amy Rose's one is as follows. Sonic's girlfriend. History doesn't record if they've had sex or not, but we reckon they probably have. Look at her. Foie, eh? We
I don't-
prefer cream nowadays. It's an ear thing. But a few years ago, Amy was as good as it got for bizarre cartoon character sex fantasies. Not that we ever did, you realize.
I don't really think that was much a character bio as it was just. I'll just tell you guys this right now. It was a different time. Gaming magazines were trying so fucking hard to be edgy, and usually it was just written by weird dorks that didn't have any real
Well,
sense
I
of
just
humor.
love how
So-
they refer
in
to
Google-
Rouge the Bat as Sonic's first openly goth character.
I just hear
Yeah.
you talking about like gaming magazines being overly edgy, and I'm just imagining Google being like, "Did you mean the Daikatana ad?"
I mean, that was the whole vibe of those stupid magazines. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was everything that a 12-year-old thought was cool and just
It's everything that
fantastic.
Stuart Jip still thinks is good journalism.
God.
He has, ironically enough, he has been posting a lot of stuff from old magazines he's been going through, and I have to admit, it's been really fun seeing some of this old stuff from back in the day because, man, they're something else. They're really cool. Somebody's had to have done a video on gaming magazines, haven't they?
Good. I mean, Caddy did one on like PlayStation Magazine, didn't he?
I was gonna say that sounds like a catty video,
Yeah.
but yeah. Oh man, I want to go find my because I have a whole bunch of them back in Iowa. I want to go check those out again.
I've got
and
to
see if we have a fun time. That would be a fun video sometime. Just going through. Let's see Sonic through the ages through gaming magazines. Because I always bought it if Sonic was on the cover.
I think it was UK PlayStation Magazine where this article came from. Anywho.
Yeah. Anyway.
Shall we go into today's topic?
No.
Yeah, we've been back and forth all over the place. I don't know, Gilly, if we talked about it or not, because you were busy in the cold. What was our excuse, Pup? What was it?
Oh, I can't
Just
even
lost
fucking
in a
remember
blizzard?
now.
As he was caught in the snow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so
Stuck in the white world.
do we just start on the news then? The Kishimoto news?
I mean, so I kind of put down that we should have like a small introduction to Kishimoto in a way, just for anyone that doesn't know. So, I've got this written down as Kishimoto's Wishimotos.
Why isn't that the title? Why isn't that the title of the video?
Because I thought, given that his first name is Mario, it would be really funny to call the episode "It's a Me Kishimoto."
No one's gonna get that.
No one's
Everyone,
gonna get it.
everyone.
And people
will
have to
get it.
think. People have to think too hard to
Wayne,
figure that
you were
one out.
so supportive of this like an hour ago. What happened?
I didn't say. I didn't respond.
Yeah, that's the thing. You didn't say against it,
I
so
think-
you therefore
I think you
supported
should-
it.
I think you should change the title. I think it's a.
I
it's
think
a
you
disaster.
I like that
Yeah.
you're arguing with us against
Sponsored
your own
by
good joke, Pup.
Established titles.
Oh, don't. Let's not talk about them.
That's not.
A few of your friends lost a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm changing
Yeah, we
the
wouldn't wanna-
title, but you guys always hate my fucking vision for things. First, we're against the poo.
This
Now
is your
we're
own
in-
joke.
I wasn't against the poo.
I was very.
That's
against
why
I was
you-
100. That's
everybody's the poo.
Wayne. That's because you're
Stupid.
Bosie?
A
Pooped.
pussy.
Wayne.
Finish
Wayne.
it, Gilly. Finish it. Speak up, you little bitch. I can't hear you.
Wayne, if one of us was missionary,
Listen, I'm a sub and I know it.
Look, yeah, but right now this boy's a power bottom, and bless you for it.
Wayne, I swear to God, if you don't stop this bullshit about the turd, I'm gonna penetrate you with a frozen turd.
Oh,
you said
this
you
is
said
getting
you said poop
weird.
3 times in that.
Yeah, I know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Poopies. Anyways, so
Oh.
Kishimoto's
Oh,
Wishimotos
gosh.
it is then. So, Mario Kishimoto is the director of numerous Sonic games in the series. Beginning his tenure at Sonic Colors, he also directed Sonic Lost World,
What is that voice?
I don't
Sonic
know.
Forces, and Sonic Frontiers.
It just turned into something else too.
Today-
He can't give like actual information without making it a fucking cartoon.
Today, Kishimoto can be found on Twitter and has been very responsive to the Sonic fans.
You sound like Film Cow, like Jason Steele from Film Cow right now.
Okay, I haven't seen it. But wait. I'll take your
Charlie
word
the
for it.
Unicorn.
Nick, I'm glad
Llamas
you.
with hats. Film cow.
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah, you know who that is.
I'd actually, you know what? While we're just talking about it, let's genuinely. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit. Kishimoto, he's done like some of the not the best games in the franchise. How about we'll just say it like that?
Name them.
All right, so the best one, in my opinion, from the lot, I think it's bookended. I think his best stuff is Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Colors. But in the meantime, he's also done Lost World, Forces, and Colors Ultimate. So, I guess he's just in the director
does
credits
Colors
for Ultimate. Never
really?
mind.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't count.
That's
I guess it's
really
2 for
unfair,
2.
Nick.
I guess that's 2 for 2 then, right? Because and I feel like I'm about the only one maybe not here, but I feel like I'm a little bit more not defensive, but supportive of Sonic Colors in a couple of aspects. But even then, that's not high praise.
I mean,
it's
all
like
things
dancing
considered.
around icicles right now.
All things considered, I think we got to take Colors for what it was at the time. It was a response to what people were asking for, and it did a fine job at that as well, save for colors.
Well,
It has not aged to be one of the better ones by any stretch, but like, I mean, I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, I guess I'd still put Sonic Colors in the upper echelon of Sonic games as far as like the upper half goes.
Echelon.
Oh my god.
Shut up, Gilly!
I just want to keep these games in mind going forward with what he said. That's all I'm saying currently.
Also, what I've gotten from a lot of information, and this is all purely anecdotal, so don't ask me to source anything here, is that Frontiers was, if anything, a bit more of a passion project for Kishimoto, hence why he got the final credit this time, but also that, there's a lot of things in Frontiers that he wanted to do with other titles, like, for example, Lost World, I think he originally wanted Supersonic to go up against each of the Deadly Six for the boss fights, so that was like a very him thing that he finally got to do for fucking Frontiers. Another thing was, like, Lost World's level design structure, the way that it is, the tubular stuff, is that he wanted more explorable styles of levels, and that was, like, the first thing they threw out there was, let's do the Mario Galaxy thing. I'm not sure how you explain Forces in that sense, but I get the feeling that Forces was everyone just like, fucking, let's just get this done, you know? Like, and that really fucking comes across in the product. So, as I say, all of this is anecdotal. I don't have sources for any of this shit, so take it for what it is. But, like, I get the feeling that Frontiers is kind of like, okay, fine, Kishimoto, what the fuck do you want, you know?
I do think I'm speaking just from opinion here. Let's be completely blunt here, but just this is about as cynical of a take as it gets. I don't feel like anybody directing Sonic games at Sonic Team are dealing with passion projects. I think these are just, this is the job, let's get the job done. And occasionally they do get chances to really do some creative things here. It's just a couple times they get really railed for it. So I don't know. I don't know the guy personally.
And it's I don't, when it comes to the games themselves, I don't know how many people who work on the Sonic games who could really call this a passion project for them.
Yeah, I just like, if I just
Like-
consider the discourse for Sonic games, especially for the last decade, where everyone's just like, they've been terrible or something. I don't think they've been terrible. I just don't feel like most of them have been exceptional. I think that's just because they keep trying to figure out what the hell the fans want. I don't see a lot of just a creative vision coming through for a lot of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't even, we're going off on a tangent here. It's not entire. It might be important for what's coming up here, but Pup, do you want to lead the charge in terms of what he's been saying recently? Because it's been
Sure.
kind of interesting.
If I may just quickly get one little point in, though, because
Sure.
I think, like the majority of creative industries, I mean, like, you look at MCU movies and stuff for another example, those are very much like movie as product in a lot of ways. But I think there's still a lot of people that are working on those movies that do have a great deal of passion towards it, namely a lot of directors as well. Like, it's one of those things where it can be that the studio just sees it as this is a mandate, but the individuals working on it are very passionate. It's like, for example, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, for example, is like, I see it as kind of like quite a soulless movie, but at the same time, there's definitely a soul there, and that's in the form of like Mark Webb, and what he clearly wanted to achieve with the little leeway that he was given. So I think, I don't know if it translates necessarily over to games, but it's just from my knowledge of creative industry, there's usually some people that are super passionate about it, regardless of whether or not it's a studio project or something a bit more independent or something that's more high budget. But, I mean, as well as that, kind of going by how Kishimoto has come across on social media, I would say the guy comes across as passionate, if nothing else. Whether or not that's a testament to competence or not is kind of up to the player, I guess. But I would say he comes across as passionate.
Yeah, regardless of whatever critique I have for any of his games or anything like that, like, these are still human beings, and he still is a talented man at the end of the day. And I have appreciated him being as forward as he has been on Twitter. So, yeah, speaking of, what has he been saying on Twitter?
He basically said that Game Apologist is a fucking hack. No.
I did hear that.
Well, that's fine. Game Apologist usually says that sometimes too in his games.
Well,
so it's fine.
Big if true.
He's like, I'm fucking tired of this guy. No, so I'm gonna start from kind of the top. So it was around the time of like fucking Sonic Frontiers' release. Someone posted like these are all things that Kishimoto has responded to fans on, and this was a fan asking if rolling could be implemented into open zone gameplay in some form, and Kishimoto basically responded, yeah, what we could do is replace the slide move with the rolling and do it that way, because I personally think that rolling in open zone could be a really fun traversal mechanic. It is worth noting that everything here is subject to change. Don't take anything as a promise of things to come. Not to mention, this is all translated by Twitter's inbuilt translation tool, so we don't know if there's any details incorrect here. But yeah, Kishimoto did say that he wanted to, in a future update, implement some form of rolling into the open zone gameplay because he felt it would be a fun traversal mechanic.
It'd be better than just having the drop dash as the only option we have. Not that I hate having the drop dash, but...
I mean, there's clearly evidence of an interest in rolling mechanics in Frontiers above previous Boost games, given the fact that, yeah, you've got the drop dash, but also you can roll in the 2D sections by pressing down. Of course, the roll sucks because the momentum in this game is just fucking all over the place. But I will say this, replacing the slide with a roll is fine by me, because the slide does fuck all in that game.
The slide's only there to get under fucking walls.
But is there any wall that you can get under with that? Because all of the...
I honestly didn't even know the slide was in Frontiers.
All the slidey walls in the generation stages have been cut out, I noticed.
Yeah.
And
no,
I've noticed
it's very streamlined.
There's a lot of parts in the open zone that look like you should be able to slide under them, like the ancients' houses and stuff like that you can't slide under. So I do wonder, like, okay, you get rid of the drift, whatever, but, like, you don't get rid of the slide, which is completely fucking useless in this game.
There's a lot of stuff that's been left on the table in terms of this game. I think that's pretty evident, and we've talked about that to death, but I really hope they kind of put it together here in the last one. I thought it was really interesting that, and I think this is what I was taken from his Twitter, was that he was considering just taking the momentum out entirely. Or not the momentum, I'm sorry, the boost.
We'll get to that.
Entirely.
That's quite a bit later down the line. But I think that's
How
also...
much? Yeah, I guess there's a lot more there, isn't
That's
there?
also for, like, a future game, but we'll get to that. Right now, like, what are we thinking? How likely do we feel the rolling in the open zone is, and how do we feel about implementing rolling into the open zone?
I mean...
Go ahead, sir. I've been rambling a lot.
It's okay. So I feel like it's definitely something that would be very easy for them to implement. Like you said, all the artifacts are already there in the game right now. We already have the drop dash in the game right now. Realistically, I mean, I don't want to talk about this part specifically because we're going to talk about boost in a bit, but boost is just a one-button way of rolling in most Sonic games. It's just a very simplified way of doing what rolling used to do in older Sonics.
Except it's got more acceleration, because that's the thing, is like, the rolling is like, if you treat Sonic as a car, for example, it would be like taking your foot off of the gas pedal and just letting the car roll effectively, but you're doing it down a hill.
Yeah, because rolling would always run out of momentum if you went uphill, whereas boost does not run out when you go up hills.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I think it's a thing that would be really easy for them to implement. I'm pretty sure we already have some mods that are doing that too right now, don't we?
I don't think we have a roll mod, but that said, the roll's actual action, what the roll can do, is actually not dissimilar from the slide in a lot of ways. Like, I've played mods for Generations where they replaced the sliding animation out with a rolling one, and it feels about right, you know? Like, I don't think it would need a lot of tweaking.
I mean, back in Sonic Adventure 2, that's what the somersault was for.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the other role that you had access to was to get under things.
I think the thing is, I had a conversation with a modder about this, like Wasif Boom or whatever his name is. But like, I think he said something like a lot of the momentum-related coding in Sonic Frontiers is set to its absolute bare minimum. And it's one of those things where it's like a lot of modders have gone in and upped the numbers a little bit to give Sonic more of a sense of momentum. And with that comes a better drop dash as well. Like, one of my favorite mods in this is like Tracker's Physics mod, because it simulates the momentum feeling a bit more and it really improves the drop dash's range. Problem is, Sonic can roll into a wall and he'll still stay in his ball form and can then just roll away from it, which just don't feel right to me.
No, that's
I,
understandable.
Yeah, as far as the rolling's concerned, if we were talking about a future game, I think that would be important as long as level design was made with that in mind. I kind of feel it's a moot point for Frontiers because I already have a lot of issues with the open zones because I don't think a lot of it was designed with Sonic in mind. So adding new elements to it without really having the intention of rolling in the first time through is going to add a whole new slew of problems, but I'd still play around with it. That sounds like a fun mod. I mean, there are a couple of ramps in various spots that just don't let you go rocketing off anywhere. And I think if rolling and momentum was tweaked a little bit, that could make them fun, but without any goals to it, there's not much of a reason. I mean, you can get through the game just fine as it is right now, so I guess I don't see the point to adding it now to this game.
Wayne?
Yeah, I would say I personally think add to the content, not to the way the game is played at this point.
Yeah.
Better off to actually focus any of these new features and stuff into whatever the next title is going to be and design the game around that. Because again, Nick, like you were just saying, the structure of the worlds, it doesn't have a whole lot of like platforming thought put behind it. And the only platforming that's there is like Gmod assets that are just kind of like taken out and put on top of the world instead of actually made a part of it.
They literally list the places where they get the fucking assets from at the start of the game. So
yeah, and I would like more fun ways to play around with, like how to reach max speed and everything. Like personally, what I would have liked instead of like collecting a bunch of rings or whatever to reach like a maximum speed, instead give you the option to charge up before you start running. Basically, just do the fucking super peel out and then like boost right out into max speed instead of like having to just run around and collect rings. I would have preferred something like that.
I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, they've got the pieces there for that already because I believe Sonic's boost in Frontiers is built upon the same sort of groundwork that Lost World had, and Lost World had him charge into like a figure eight for the animation.
Yeah.
Now you'd need is for it to reward the player for holding down that button a little bit before actually going ahead and boosting. Like, you could have it so that he goes to max acceleration. But again, that's another thing where you've got these physics sliders that make things a little bit redundant, is that you can just... The way I've got it set up is I've got, like, acceleration and bottom boost speed at the absolute bottom, but the top speed's at the absolute top, which means that once I boost, I'm not necessarily going top speed, I have to still reach that point by, you know, continuing onwards. It's about as close as I can get to the classic Sonic kind of philosophy here. But I feel like if you were to implement a form of super peel out while having the option to just go top speed with a press of a button anyway, that's where you reach kind of a redundancy. And it's one of those things where maybe there should be like a survey or something asking players of Frontiers, how do they have their Sonic set up? And what can we learn from that? Because as much as I love these sliders, it's one of those things where making it too customizable will rid it of its potential challenges that come in control.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here is that I don't think there's much point in doing anything with the game that we already have outside of like adding onto the content that you can play around with the mechanics that are already there. Skyward Sword HD, when that came out, like one of the big sticking points for me was like, yeah, if you didn't like having to do with the motion controls, being able to actually play it with the controller was all well and good. That's great. But that game, in terms of structure, is broken right at its fucking foundation, and it's a tedious, repetitive slog because of the way it's built, because they were building it around those motion controls to begin with, and they were compensating for them.
I mean,
you're doing the same thing with Sonic Frontiers. You can make like better maneuver, better ways to move around in that game, but the game is still built not for that. Like it's still
something. Like... Sorry, go on, Wayne.
I just think it's just better if they focus on building a better world to explore. More things to find. More things to actually interact with. Preferably stuff that's actually geographically there instead of just set on top of the
Wheels in the air.
yeah, set on top of a bump mapped like plane that they raised in a few places to simulate a terrain. Like
And it's not even mapped correctly because he will go fucking launching off on occasion.
yeah.
God
Do-
damn it.
Do more shit like the actual ruins that are underground. Do more shit like that big upside down pyramid that's like floating around in the air. Like do actual like in the world, part of the world things. Versus like as Frontiers the way it is, I'd say like trying to fix that game or its physics as of now is a wasted effort that would be better put towards making a better sequel.
I'll say
And we know
this.
we're going to get a sequel because it's a Sonic franchise. They're going to just add to it, so focus on the next game. Sorry, go ahead, Pup.
I'll say this. If playing mods has proven anything to me, is that there is still a case to be made for it. So, for example, there are lots of mods that basically, yeah, it's clear that the game isn't made for this and stuff like that. You know, there are some momentum mods that can basically just fling the player across the entire fucking map. And as fun as that can be, yeah, you wouldn't want that for a game. But it's why I am such a shill for the tracker physics tweak mod, is that it generally just makes it better. And it's one of those things where it's like, if they could find a way to implement something like that mod, it would just make the game better, because the traversal is improved, Sonic's speed is a lot less capped, it feels like he can reach a much higher speed without boosting, but it still doesn't feel at odds with the level designs either. And it applies to cyberspace as well, like, it fixes up the cyberspace controls really nicely. I do agree that I think, you know, I'm hoping that the next game will divorce itself from the current structure they have, where it's like terrain below, platforming atop that. That's not to say that there isn't some on the terrain below. I do think there is a bit more to it than I think we necessarily give it credit for, but I do agree that, yeah, they need to make the platforming much more diegetic and make these worlds feel a bit more kitted out for Sonic. At the same time, I think modding has proved to me that you kind of can swap out gameplay styles a bit without breaking the game's purpose and ruining the environments. So I'd say if they can improve it, you know? Like, why not, you know?
Mhm.
I'm kind of with Wayne on it. I just don't see the point. Just put it in the next game. It's Sonic. Sonic's going to be back. Focus up on that. Stop trying to fix what's already out. I would just add more content. If there's any like major things to actually fix, I'd say pop in if they can.
They can.
And
there's mods
and
that
just-
fix the pop-in. I've got one. It
Right.
feels great. Like, it's so much better.
I really got to play around with some of those mods.
Yeah,
at some
seriously,
point.
do it. It's eye-opening just how much cool shit can be done with this. Like, that's why I personally am in support of fixing up what you've got here, because I just think Sonic's history would be a lot better if they went back and revisited older titles and fixed them.
Well, you know, maybe go do that with re-releases.
I
mean,
feel
okay,
like
yeah.
I'm torn between the two philosophies, because it's like it's that part of you that wants things like, or that part of me that wants things like an adventure remake, but then doesn't really realize what kind of adventure remake I would want, like how I would want them to even go about that. Do I want them taking the old game and just updating all the visuals? Do I want an actual like big sprawling station square? Do I think that something in the physics in those games needs to be fixed? Because the answer to that's probably going to be no. Same thing with Frontiers. In 20 years, we're going to have these conversations about Frontiers. It's just like, hey, do we need a Frontiers remake? What things would we even want to fix there? Do we want to do things like what Wayne was talking about with Skyward Sword, where even tweaking the physics, there's fundamental things in a game that might still need to be fixed that require more than just changing a couple of parameters. I don't know. I get torn between the two philosophies a lot.
I can kind of agree. Like, but all right, has everyone said what they want to say on rolling? Gilly, you've been quite quiet in this regard.
I just don't really have anything to add.
Okay. All right. Well, next up then, we've got a new final boss for Sonic Frontiers. So this is something where someone pitched their own idea.
Pup, is it what you posted?
It's what I posted. What did I post?
I remember what you posted. Yeah.
I think that's the joke Pup is leading into.
I actually wasn't, but now I remember. No. That wasn't in reference to the new final boss. That was in reference to the new playable characters.
Oh yeah.
The idea that you play as all 3 of them
But
on board the tornado.
it was a different final boss.
It wasn't a final boss. It was just an additional bit of story.
That's your Sonic Adventure remake, baby. That's what that is.
There you go. That's the new tornado section.
Off. No.
To be
Sky
fair,
Chase is
though,
so much fun.
the Ikaruga gameplay
wait,
style is ripe for the tornado. I'm just gonna straight up say it.
I'm gonna go ahead and be the asshole that says no. Sky Chase is not fun. Just go to the bottom right hand corner of the screen and AFK. You cleared the mission. I go to the bathroom when I hit Sky Chase.
I like the pew pew shooty shooty, and it's got tone. It has a narrative purpose entwined with the gameplay because you're. Fuck you, sir. No.
Yeah, fuck you, sir. So I'm with Wayne here, not fishing, but I'm with Wayne here.
I'm in the. I'm gonna go in the middle and just say, Sky Chase is a nice idea on paper, but gameplay-wise, it's boring as fuck.
I thought as a kid, like even now when I go back to replay that, it's one of the most exciting parts of the game, especially the second Sky Chase, because just the way that they established the tone for the for the finale with that the sky's getting darker, it's super stormy and cloudy. Like the egg carrier is intimidating. You've already lost to it once before, and now just getting on this thing is like your only goal.
Yeah, none of that shit actually happens. The egg carrier isn't there and the sky does not darken.
Here's the thing, all right? I'm tired of this slack. I'm tired of this sass.
Wait, hang on. Are you talking about Sonic Adventure? I thought we were talking about Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about Sonic 2 Sky Chase.
Adventure.
No, Sky Chase in Sonic 2 is boring as fuck.
Oh, fair enough.
But it's got the turtleoids, so it's the best one.
I think it's fun.
I like the turtleoids.
None of us agree with each other, and this is wonderful.
And I liked when they put it in Mania.
You know what?
You know what would be fun outside of like a video or like a topic being like, let's look at all the pinball through the ages. We should look at all the tornado levels through the ages too. That'd be kind of fun.
We can do it all. We can do it all.
I think Sky Chase is a nice relaxing segment after that shit.
To be fair, I think I just don't like the music in Sky Chase on Sonic 2 because I feel like especially once you board I guess whatever ship he had up in the air, like leading up to the Death Egg.
The thing.
The Death Egg and the Death Egg robot at the end of Sonic 2 are still some of the scariest, like, final, like, threats in a Sonic game to me at this point.
Kind of pussy or something?
Dude, it's just raw. Like, it's a hard fight, and it's Eggman getting inside that robot, and dude, the music at the end, like during that battle, is so cool. Leading you into a Mecha Sonic boss. Hey, this is just gonna turn into a fucking like Sonic 2 like.
Go on
a Sonic podcast.
I don't know. I feel like
Sonic 2.
What I just made Sonic 2. On the Genesis has a really strong finale. I just feel like the music in the Sky Chase directly preceding that doesn't quite fit the atmosphere of what follows it, but it's still not bad.
I think it does a great job ramping up to a finale. Whether or not the level design is the peak of the game, probably not. But man, it really makes you feel like you're wrapping up one hell of a journey. And I think that's the kind of tone that Sonic Adventure takes forward with it. Because, yeah, it's not the best version of a shooter game, but it is still, all those games, all those extra games, the fishing and everything else, they pull from Sega classic arcade titles or just classic Sega titles, stuff that they're really good at, usually. And they just went that hard for everything else. Sorry.
Still bouncing between Sonic Adventure and Sonic 2.
Well, I just transitioned to Sonic.
I personally feel that the fucking Ikaruga-style gameplay would be right for the tornado with a more dynamic camera angle that looks less like a passport photo.
Well, I don't think you can get away with Ikaruga-style gameplay if it's not just a straight-up top-down.
Have you not played Nier Automata?
I haven't, no. Why would I have played that, Wayne? I don't.
No, I was asking you.
I played through level 1, and I got very impatient when it was like, no, please actually die. Fuck off.
So, some of the bosses in that game are just fucking Ikaruga in a 3D format. I think it works okay.
You can do it. Like, there's
maybe Platinum would pull it off a little bit better, though.
Yeah, well, then again, I thought that they would pull off Star Fox, and look what happened there.
So Sonic Frontier's final boss, right? What are we thinking? Like, so someone put
yeah,
put out
right.
their whole ass pitch for what they thought the final boss could be, involving like a doomsday zone flying through asteroids kind of thing, flying at the fucking the end and shit like that. And basically, Kishimoto responded by saying that he's going to work on the final boss further to make a much more satisfying experience for the ending fight, basically.
I mean,
Now
anything's better than the cop-out that we got.
I would not say anything is better than that, because if Eggman rocks up in another fucking Egg Wisp mech, I'm gonna be pissed. But, like...
At this point, I'd take it.
I just want, like, the spirits of the Titans to be there, and they're just, like, circling around the end. Like, the end, I want... You could do literally everything else that led up to that, except, like, that, you know, where he rockets through the moon that the end is taking form of, and it turns out it's just like it's like a chrysalis, and it hatches into this like final giant enemy. I'm thinking something along the lines of like
A literal death egg.
Dark Gaia, and like the spirits of the Titans are all like ganging up on it. They're like circling around, just beating the shit out of it. You cut to like Supersonic like getting in a running stance, but then it like zooms out, and the final Titan is like holding him in his hand and just launches him towards the fucking boss. You can do some wild shit with that, dude.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I kind of had the thought process of, like, okay, how is Sonic supposed to beat up the moon, basically? Imagine, he's just basically digging a hole, right? So, like, I would say you could land on the end's moon and fight, like, sort of phantom replicas of the different Titans you've already fought. Fucking throw in Perfect Chaos for good measure. Fucking throw in Dark Gaia for good measure. Make it so I can punch the shit out of them. If you want to go fan wank, go fan wank. But alternatively, it could just be a fucking horde of beastlies on the fucking... the moon's end, fucking whatever the fuck it is.
Kind of thought that's what was going to happen.
I specifically don't want to fight a bunch of like fodder like on it, because that's what a lot of that's like kind of the cop out thing a lot of games do for their final boss. I legitimately just want destroy the moon. There's a thing inside it. Sure, I like that idea, Pup. Make it look like Perfect Chaos. It adds a little more context as to why Chaos transformed into that thing to destroy the world to begin with.
Another thing that Nick and I suggested, like I can't remember who even the first one of us was to suggest this, but having you side loop around the entirety of the end.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
kind of
that's what I thought was going to happen.
So weird that's not a thing that you do.
It's crazy to me. That last fight is crazy to me. It doesn't make sense. And like everyone's excusing it now, like, well, it's just a secret final boss. You don't get achievements for this. That.
But
Yeah,
then,
just,
okay, so it's
just
between
fuck off.
it's between
So,
an
it's like,
Ikaruga.
so the proper final boss was the quick time events we saw along the way.
Oh, I love that
Okay.
quick time event. That was a great
upset
final boss player
that-
experience.
I should have just read the fucking list, but I went through the process of S-ranking every single cyberspace level, and there's no fucking trophy for it.
Yeah, it's like they didn't
That's
have time to
bullshit.
finish the fucking game. Just, it's fine.
Poor bitch.
It's
Maybe
fine.
they thought they didn't expect everybody to put themselves through that. So they were
Maybe
just
they
like-
just assumed nobody would do an S rank after
I would
one
never
team.
expect
Yeah.
you to do that for me. Thank you, though.
Right, Green Hill at the end of every A rank of Sonic Adventure 2 leads me to believe that Sonic Team would never think
I
people
I
would
personally-
try to perfect their games.
I do personally really like the idea of the end taking a form similar to something like the Biolizard and Perfect Chaos, because I do really like... I remember Kevin, our buddy, the Golden Bolt, in his video kind of made this sort of observation that maybe Gerald had designed the Biolizard kind of in reference to Perfect Chaos, just looking through the murals of like the Master Emerald and everything like that. You get this like trifecta there where we see Perfect Chaos, we see the Biolizard, we see these creatures of just unfathomable destruction that we have fought and defeated countless over the years, and then we finally see like what really inspired them, what precedes all of those. That's the end. And so actually, all of that big talk that everybody fucking loves so much from the end boss fight, we actually get to see him deliver on some of that instead of just insisting that we take him seriously.
You know what I was hoping they would do? Because this, I just was remembering this because who was it? I think it was Oishima who posted some never before seen concept art for Sonic the Hedgehog. Some we have seen before, but like really pretty versions of it. I was like, I thought it'd be really cool if they just made a reference to that evil looming presence that is always in the background before they finalized on Eggman being the big baddie. There's like this big evil face in the sky that, as well as all these other silly little enemies.
Well,
I thought it'd be cool if they just like made reference to that, like, oh, here's the big evil that's literally been here since the very beginning.
I remember fans theorized that was what the Time Eater was back in 2011.
I didn't. Oh, that makes sense. That's kind of cool.
The Time Eater's probably one of the lamest. Like,
The Time Eater just doesn't fucking exist. Like,
Yeah.
like the rest of
The
Generations of
interesting thing about
stories
him
is
is
not
just, oh,
existent.
there's two Eggman. That was the big reveal. There's two Eggies.
The thing is, there's a real Time Eater out there somewhere, though. Like, that's the thing that's implied, is that there's a real one somewhere. When do I get to fight that?
The
He
weirdest
took over
thing
the real
about
one, isn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah, he took over the Time Eater and turned it into his thing. The thing that confused me about the Time Eater, though, and still confuses me now, you know how we get those like still images from the end of Colors where Eggman's just in space in Generations?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's the still images that show how he discovered the Time Eater. So wait a minute. You could have just had an actual cutscene showing this, and also showing how Eggman somehow managed to subjugate this being of all things. Think of all of the things Eggman has subjugated in the past. They always go out of control. And there's some reason that he's able to subjugate them, either through manipulating them or through like taking them on when they're in an underpowered state. But when we see the Time Eater, it's just Eggman has a Time Eater. No, the Time Eater will never buck his control. He just has the Time Eater, and then when you beat the Eggman, the Time Eater goes away.
To be fair, there's the Time Eater and there's Infinite. Those two.
Yeah. That's the fun thing for like Adventure 1 and 2 that I always liked, is it felt like Shadow and Chaos were taking advantage of Eggman and letting him think he was in control of them.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the big satisfying reveal. If I can throw one more stupid, self-indulgent, bullshit fan service thing I would love to see out of like a completed final boss for Frontiers.
Yeah.
So you're in the middle of like you and Sage are using the Titans to like fight this thing. It's this like big cool battle. You're like throwing like comets and shit at each other and everything like that. And then everybody's getting tuckered out, and just as the end is going in for a big attack, you hear this little intercom sound chime in, and you just hear Eggman's voice say something like, "You didn't think I would let you take all the credit, did you?" And then you just like off in the distance, it zooms in, and the fucking arc is just like turning over the Earth's atmosphere, and he's controlling it remotely, and it just fires up the Eclipse cannon and launches it towards the end.
That would make fucking sense more than, hey, Eggman, you know that one thing you just made, have it go literally alivened itself against the giant rock, because Sonic can only punch a hole in the giant rock. Ignore the fact that you have a cannon made to blow up giant rocks.
I tell you what would be perfect would be like, because another thing I said was that Tails' little story of inadequacy doesn't really lead anywhere in Sonic Frontiers itself necessarily. Have Tails help Eggman board the space colony arc again, and have it so that they need help relaunching the Eclipse cannon, and then Super Sonic has to basically jump in the cannon and fucking become one with the fucking power, you know?
Dude, be that make that part of like the extra like character campaigns that they want to add in. Just make it like the end of Sonic Adventure 2, where the cooperation mission, where they're all like joining together in this big assault on this enemy. Now, the only problems that would come with that are one, was the arc destroyed at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog?
No.
Okay, I didn't remember if it had been or not.
Shadow is very, very visibly in the Space Colony arc at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog. He goes there in super form at the end.
And it's been a while since I played through the entirety of it. The only other thing is the Eclipse Cannon not powered by the Chaos Emeralds?
The Eclipse Cannon is powered by the Chaos Emeralds, but it doesn't require all of them.
Well, then you can have it like be a time challenge that Sonic has to race to the fucking Space Colony arc, because I still feel like controlling Super Sonic for this finale is important, or else you end up with
oh my god!
You play as the arc in an Ikaruga fight.
Hold up! Okay, so Knuckles' mission at the end of the game is to get back to the Shrine of the Master Emerald, pick up the Master Emerald, and help them take that shit to the arc and power the Eclipse Cannon with that.
So
wouldn't that make Angel Island crash though?
Fuck you! No. You know what? Yes, it's a risk they're willing to take. They let Angel Island crash, but it's all in service of this final assault on something that's about to destroy the world.
And then they create a meteor that's about to just fucking do the next dinosaur level extinction.
No, I've got the way they handle the Angel Island thing. Knuckles literally would just go, wait, if we use my emerald, everything crashes, and Eggman just looks at Knuckles and goes, you know I have an egg fleet, right? And you just see like the entirety of the egg fleet just desperately trying to hold up Angel Island.
That would be awesome.
Or Eggman just doesn't give a shit. He's just like, I like destruction.
We are once again reiterating this is all very fan servicey things, and they probably don't have the budget to do this.
Oh, and it's shit.
No, not for where it is now.
No, this isn't going to happen. This isn't.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun
It's
with
okay
this.
for us to have fun.
We're Sonic fans. No.
That would have made this fucking Sonic Adventure 3 for me, is doing all that shit.
Or
Alright,
if they did a comic adaptation of Frontiers, you don't need to worry about budget at that point.
Yeah, but then you're just going to get people talking about, oh my god, this is so much better than the game.
Oh, I don't fucking care.
Wait.
That's a non-issue to me.
Okay.
Then you also get the people that are like, oh, this is just fan service. And I'm like, you sit there and tell me you don't like being serviced.
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think we should discourage them from using the toys that are in the toy box. You know?
Yeah. That's been one of my bigger problems with the game is I'd prefer more show, not tell, and I hope they do that in the future because they just kind of tell us all the fan service. Like, I'd prefer to just see it, but it's fine.
So, okay, in short, I think we kind of know what Wallace wants for the final boss. In a very short fashion, I feel like he wants more than they can give.
I do want more than they can give. I want the finale of Gurren Lagann. I want the finale of Gurren Lagann as the fucking final boss.
You want throwing galaxies at each other in giant mechs with spirals?
Fuck yes!
I'm down for it. You know what?
So,
fine. I love Gurren Lagann.
I've basically already said that, like, as long as I get a chance to punch something, I'm happy. So in a quick fashion, round table, what do we all want for the new final boss? Nick.
There's a lot of things I want. I would take anything you guys have mentioned so far. I can't help but try and keep it somewhat grounded. I just want a little bit extra something. I'd even take a boss rush because I think they should do a boss rush where you have to go through the Titans with just the one set of rings you have, and maybe they just shorten it up a bit, but like something else for Sonic to do that really just celebrates everything you've done up to this point and really just give us a one last fireworks show, because that's all we really needed for the Sonic fights in this game, I think.
That's why I want to punch some shit, man. Like, we've got the first game where I can punch. You mean to tell me I don't get to punch the final boss?
If he this is why I'm so angry we didn't get like a new form, or we didn't get Hypersonic. Was like, okay, how do we amp it up from here? Have Sonic have so much power that he can just punch the moon. Just make him, he just pushes out his fist and he punches the moon. Or he has, like we talked about before, like a spinball showdown with the moon.
The thing about that though is I want a button mash, you know? I want a button mash like I've never mashed before for that final boss, you know?
Yeah, but like you can still do all of that. Just have him fight the moon. Make it as absurd as possible. People will talk about it forever.
I really need like a final form that isn't just a rock. I need it to not be the moon. I need something to be inside of that.
I would usually agree with that if I hadn't played through Kirby's Adventure, because that's still one of the greatest final boss fights I've ever experienced in
I'm
my
also
fucking life.
fine with the moon because it's spooky Yuki Yuki, and to be fair, and I've seen someone make a point of saying Sega is assuming way too much of the audience's knowledge here, but I say fuck it, subtext is fine. The moon is like, in some culture, I don't fucking know where, like the image of death, so it's like, I'm completely fine with fucking punching the shit out of the moon. I've
I
punched
think
enough
they
monsters.
could have woven that into the narrative a lot better, I think.
Yeah, it's like almost as if you had taken the time to make the moon an ominous presence that looms over the character, and you could see that up there and build a dread over it over the course of the entire game.
The movie moon.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it has a big stupid fucking face that takes you
Yeah.
out of the whole experience.
What are you
love
talking about?
that face.
The face
I don't
is
give a
awesome.
shit, Gilly.
The
These are
face,
Gilly
the,
talking.
the face makes it like I like the face, but in terms of like making it an immersive thing, why? Why does it have a gigantic angry face?
It
What?
made me care about the game more. It was like, what are they doing?
They're
I
like,
think
oh,
they were
no,
originally-
but they never explain it. They go,
They
oh,
never do.
they
That's
go
the
the
part.
moon.
You know
the
what?
moon
You know
is
what? All of
going-
you,
the moon
shut
is
up.
gonna crash
No
into
new final boss.
Clocktown.
You don't deserve a
The
new
moon
final
is gonna
boss. None of you
destroy
do.
Termina. Why does the moon have a face? Nobody says it.
That's the fun part. It shouldn't have to be explained.
That's
It's
not
not-
the moon.
no. I do. Yeah.
is good.
Subtext is fine. You don't have to
I
explain
played Ocarina of
everything.
Time. I played Ocarina of Time. The beginning of the game, the fucking moon is right there. It doesn't have a face.
Well, you're not in you're not in
falls into
Hyrule.
Termina.
in
Yeah,
Yeah,
Majora's
it's
Mask.
the same planet.
We don't know that. There's
No way of knowing that.
They literally tell you it's a different dimension in the fucking manual.
I just
Wait, in the what does the Japanese version of the manual say?
I will double check it, but I mean,
Because American manuals are dog shit.
well, then how do you explain all of the reused
American
assets,
Mega
like
Man,
all the character models
American
and
Mega
everything?
Man was like, you need to protect Robotropolis from.
They were getting better about
I
it.
love
by
though.
the
I
64
love though
era.
how this podcast is like, oh, supplementary materials are not adequate storytelling, and I can't tell that the moon is meant to be a villain. Yet now we're all like, oh, check the manual. The story's there.
Well, no, I'm saying
Further evidence
even
that
within the
Sonic
game-
fans
even
hold
within the
Sonic to a
game,
higher
there's-
standard than anything else on
It's
the
also
fucking
it's
planet.
also different eras of gaming though. Like N64 is very very Wild West in terms of what we were doing.
No, 64 is where it started
Nah.
actually coming together a bit more. if
64 is a little
anything.
consistent.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been fine with Majora just because it is a surreal experience and it is kind of fun thinking about like
Yes,
the
I
game
just-
theory of it all. Is
I
he
just
dead
have
or
a
some
problem
shit?
with the moon having a face and
I
nobody
get
talking about
that.
it.
Also, that too, Gilly. Also,
Yep.
let's be honest with ourselves. Let's not pretend we're intellectuals while we're playing Sonic and Zelda. I want to know why the face is on the moon. I've always wanted to know.
Why doesn't the sun have a face?
At the end of the
I'd like
day,
to know.
Why doesn't the sun have a
I'm
nice
sorry.
big smiley
At the end of the
face?
day, I'm
Maybe the sun
completely
has a
game for
face and it's just not
subtext.
looking at
It's
you.
fine for a game to not explain why it's
Fuck
a moon.
off
It's a moon.
with subtext. Are you kidding me?
That dude-
They have the weirdest. They have the weirdest priorities with what they explain in Frontiers.
I don't know. Termina.
That was badly done.
It's a
I'm talking
moon. You don't
about
need an
Majora's
explanation as to why it's a
Majora's
moon. You're
Mask-
fighting a moon. Its
Majora's
true form is a
Mask is-
moon.
Majora's Mask is lore the game.
Yeah.
Termina has a lot of elements to it that I think not explaining some of the shit like that just adds to.
Okay,
here's
no,
the
hang on,
thing.
wait. I
Here's
got
the
you a
thing.
copy of
Here's
the.
the thing, but here's the thing about that. You know what? You don't want to explain it? Fine. A lot of stuff in Majora's Mask is not explained. It's a lot of stuff is left up to interpretation, right? It is still acknowledged. Nobody
yeah,
in that game.
people still brings up the face on the moon. They say it's weird and creepy.
Okay.
I've got a copy of the
I
Sonic
feel like
You
Frontiers.
should actually play video games.
I haven't played Majora's Mask in a while because I don't really like it very much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
At least it's got Gilly talking.
I really,
Yeah, Gilly, earn your wages. Come on.
I'm gonna do a big feature-length film of a review for Majora's Mask, and Gilly, I need you to have that exact same rant to make a cameo.
Wait, you need to do it like an old video response for just like every single thing Gilly says, and then you go, and here's the part in Majora where he's wrong.
He calls it in on Skype.
So bottom line, moons don't need faces. Moons don't need fucking personalities. They're moons. They're evil. We fight them. I'm fine with it. It's subtext.
Wait,
This is why I always argue with you, Pup. I'm sorry, but you're always like bottom line, like you got the final say.
Well, Nick, I've got your copy.
No.
Nick, I've got your copy of the script you wrote for Sonic Frontiers here, and I see Sage says, "It has taken on its final form, which is a moon. The reason why it looks like a moon is because in many cultures the moon is a sign of finality. Sonic, did you know that the moon is a sign of finality? That's why we're fighting the moon."
Sonic Frontiers.
I'm just saying that after fighting some of the coolest bosses that Sonic has ever had in a game at once, fighting a big dumb rock that isn't even the moon is kind of lame in comparison. And I've always thought it's taking a form because you can't comprehend what it actually looks like excuse is just fucking lazy because they couldn't come up with anything interesting. And I think that there's something a lot more thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
Nick, does it remind you of anything? Would it have been better if it was a taco shitting ice cream?
Wayne, I am pleased to inform you that I have modded in a top hat on the moon, so now it has more personality.
No, I'm sorry. I'm tired of the defense. I'm tired of the defense of the end. I'm sorry, but like when there's so much focus on the narrative here, and there are heavy things of death. Like the themes of death are prevalent throughout the game. There is no denying that. It is a shit garbage character. It's a shit garbage looming presence. It's a shit garbage fight.
Do you like
it's
Mephiles?
terrible.
It's gonna fucking kill you.
Do you like Mephiles the Dark?
I like the design of Mephiles. I
Okay,
could give
fair
a
enough.
fuck about the rest of it.
Fair enough, because I was going to make my
sounds
point.
like a venereal disease.
I was going to make my point about how the End and Mephiles are the exact same character.
Pup, you're never going to win me over by trying to bring Sonic 06 into the
I'm not
conversation.
trying to fucking win you over.
Because Mephiles actually fucking does stuff
You
instead
mean
of
to
just...
tell me that the End didn't wipe out an entire civilization, which we're
We
literally
didn't get
invading?
to... Okay,
I'm sorry, Pup. Are you
Mephiles
arguing for the
did
sake of
things we
arguing,
got-
or do you actually like the end?
I like the End.
Mephiles did things that actually were witnessed, and
we
we
witnessed
actually
them
got
through
to...
flashbacks. We saw lasers and shit coming down and destroying their world.
It was
That's-
awful.
That's
It's
fucking
awful.
bullshit, and it's dumb, and it's lazy, and it's not interesting in the slightest. And the fact that the only defense that they had for the fact that they couldn't actually put together a legitimate threat was to sit there for 30 minutes and call you a fucking cuck is speaks volumes. Like,
I think it's
no,
fine.
the end fucking sucks, and it's not a satisfying finale to the
end is like,
pre-established.
try as you may, I will fuck your mom.
I think there's just like there's such a good opportunity there to really tie together. If there's such a heavy focus on like the world building, it's I get so mad. I'm sorry for being redundant because I ramble about this. I stayed up all night the other night of really adding more to the script that is coming next week, I promise, guys. But like I was just so mad at all the missed opportunities when they have such a heavy focus on the world building of Sonic here. I was like, okay, Chaos Emeralds are from space, and a large part of why everything is the way it is because this entity came with the fucking aliens, and they really could have like tied together all the other entities, as I think, as Wayne you were alluding to before, with like Perfect Chaos and stuff like that. We really could have like really defined this force of nature, and it's just there's nothing there saying like, oh, here's the moon. We shouldn't need a there's something there about like that should be like a fun little extra about something you already care about. It shouldn't be, oh, I got to go to Twitter to find something to give a fuck about with this stupid character.
And that's like I bring up Majora's Mask earlier and talking about the moon being like a threatening presence. Not only does Sonic Frontiers not earn that with, again, a floating rock being your main antagonist, the main antagonist is not the moon in Majora's Mask. You go inside of it and get creeped out for a little while until you fight a mask that starts growing limbs until it has veins and it growing out of its fucking wrists that it uses as whips to fight you.
You know who
Awesome.
else? You know who else has a presence in all of Majora's Mask? Majora's fucking Mask.
So I'm going
And
to,
it's also like, if we're gonna talk about like the moon representing death, I also feel if we're gonna talk about Majora's Mask, that did a much better job theming wise, in terms of, because it's always there, it's always present. Death is always there.
I
It's
am beg-
inevitable, it's coming, and you can't
Yeah.
stop this. And it's just, fuck.
And
God damn it.
I'm begging you to play other video games.
well, I got other things to do with my time, such as like getting laid and stuff. Except I don't. But
My
so
God.
I'm gonna go ahead and lay down just like foundations for anyone left confused, for anyone that wants clarity. I like the end. The one thing I don't like about it is I don't get to punch it. That's literally all I'm asking. I've got these new punch buttons. I've got these new combos. Let me use them for the big finale of the game, and then I'm happy. I don't need the moon to be a sophisticated, deep character with a deep lore, a deep entity, and all that. It's a mustache-twirling fucking planet, and I'm fine with that. Like, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't hold it to that high of a standard. But, like...
I do when the rest of the game established an expectation for what boss fights could be in that title.
No, I agree.
And with
That's
the
why I'm
heavy,
saying
heavy emphasis.
That's
yeah,
why I want to
sorry.
punch it. That's why I want to punch the moon. But, like, I don't need...
Oh my God.
I don't need it to be anything other than a shit-talking moon. Because when I think of Sonic characters through the ages, we've got big rawr beastly. We've got big rawr beastly at the core of the Earth. We've got big rawr beastly with a space station up its ass. I'm fine with a big rawr beastie moon, and I don't give a fuck. It's fine.
It bothers me because both Zelda and Kirby have done moon fights and made them like the coolest fucking things.
Also, thematically, the reason I have no fucking issue is a toddler can tell you that when the day is over, you see the moon. That's a sign that the day's done. Like, so I'm completely
But it's
fine
not
with
even the moon. It's
What?
just a rock.
It's not because
It's not even our moon. It's literally
keep
just
saying the moon, but it's literally just an asteroid.
It's
a
a
giant-
moon. It looks like a
it
moon.
has-
It's the moon.
It
It's
has
purple.
no
A moon is any satellite that orbits a planet.
and the reason that the moon
It's orbiting the Earth, so it has become our moon.
It hasn't orbited shit.
You need to. It
So,
does. It
wait,
literally in the
Suris,
final boss,
Suris,
you see
Suris,
the Earth floating
Suris,
around and stuff. It's
Suris.
orbiting the Earth. It's a
Oh my
moon.
God.
Cyrus, I have a question.
Yeah.
If we created a gigantic machine that was able, like, a gigantic fucking claw thing that was able to remove our moon from orbit and
Yeah.
we could harness it and put it somewhere,
Mhm.
is it not still the moon?
So there's this is the halal conversation from the chat again. So there is just as there is the Earth, the fucking name for our planet, and there is Earth, the name for fucking dirt. There is a moon, which is the concept of a large satellite that orbits a planet, and the moon, which is what we call our moon.
This is the
What
thing
is
as
the name
well.
of our
Us
moon? Because we
humans.
name other
It would
moons.
not
What is our
be
No, but-
a moon anymore.
But
It
no,
would
it
still
would still
be
the
moon.
But that's the thing with us fucking Earthlings is we're so boring. The fucking aliens over on Saturn called their moon shit like Titan or Mimas
name-
or Dione or
We
Apetus.
name other moons.
Yeah, well, why
Yeah,
did we
we
not
named
give
another
a better?
moon.
Why did we just fucking stop at our moon and say
we
moon it is?
literally just like the nomenclature for our moon is just the moon.
Yeah,
so
but
would
why
it be
did we bloody
would it
do
be
that?
a moon? No, it wouldn't be a moon anymore.
But
But it would
why
be
did
the
we,
moon.
as a species,
But then
go
what
to
does
the
it
trouble of
become?
naming other moons?
Then what is
It's
it?
a rock, Gilly. It's the same thing. It's always been. It's a
not a-
fucking rock.
Also, another question: why did we name our own beloved planet after dirt? That's ridiculous. I propose
Because
a new name.
you're dirt. You're dirt.
So wait.
Oh,
Is the
God.
planet named after dirt, or is the dirt that makes up our planet named after the Earth? Because
Wayne, you're the
that's
expert
making
on
up its...
you're the
Is
expert
the
on
color
orange. You don't want to
orange
get into
named
this.
after the fruit, or is the fruit named after the color?
So for the next part, which we definitely won't argue over, okay?
Oh God, I fucking love this show.
Kishimoto was asked about his opinions on momentum, and he said
What
that
came first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh, don't get me started on momentum.
We're still on moons, Pup.
No,
What the
fuck
are
the
you
moon.
trying
Fuck
to
the
do?
moon. I fucking
Moon mentum.
listen.
Fuck the moon with your fist.
Listen,
That's
after-
not a good reason.
After today's discussion, I want nothing more than to go fucking shoot the moon in a fucking Ikaruga fight. So thank you guys. If anything, you've made the end better for me. Thank you,
Go
you
play- go play-
motherfuckers.
Go play Kirby's Adventure then.
No,
because
fuck
it's a really
Kirby.
cool moon
Fuck
fight.
Kirby. I'm here with my little bowl of mediocrity,
saying?
enjoying it. All right, you fuckers.
I mean, for real, Wayne, have you guys played through Kirby's Adventure? Have you guys?
No, I
Just
played
finished Forgotten
Star,
Land.
but
That-
I've not played.
Wait,
Adventure
like you mean
yet.
like the NES one
Yeah.
or the remake?
I mean, either works. It's the same ending, but
I've
like,
got- there's a 3D version of that on the 3DS. I downloaded that. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've played through it.
just like I mean, like it's old hat at this point because Kirby now
I've beaten
always.
Adventure, but I haven't beaten Return to Dreamland
Well, I
or
mean,
Nightmare in Dreamland. I mean,
well, this is me as a little child with my NES, and like that last fight, I mean, it sets the standard for final Kirby fights going forward, where the tone shifts completely.
oh yeah, Kirby's insane.
And yeah,
It's
but
an
like
insane franchise.
that's the first time they did that, and then it's the first thing that just instills fear in your little baby gaming heart is this orb, and you fight as you ascend to the sky going up into space, and it is a shooter fight. It's just you and the Star Rod, and it's the fucking coolest fucking boss fight, I swear to God.
What we have learned
then-
today
but-
is it's okay when Kirby does it.
Yes,
no,
because
the
it's done
point
well.
is that it's been done.
But like it's still treated like an egg though, because it's alluding to like it's this simple form, but there's just so much danger in this ball, and you're like, you have to stop this. Whatever it's doing, you have to fucking stop this thing.
Death
And then
is
you
stored
fight-
in the balls.
And then it goes into a second form fight with music that goes way harder than it has any right to. I'm talking Pictionary levels here, buddy. Like
I
it's
didn't-
just fucking nuts.
I didn't
It's
like
such
the
a
music
cool
in the
fucking
end fight either. And I didn't like that.
But like just even if you have to YouTube it, watch the final fight of Kirby. That's how you do a moon fight. It's
is the,
fucking
I-
baller.
is the
I
moon in
think
the
it-
room with you right now?
I think the thing that disappoints me the most with the ends too is that it's also following up. Like you have to earn that fight, and then it's like following the weakest Titan fight in the whole game. And that's again is like I'm fighting the Wyvern, and I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, this is incredible. Like if this is what the normal bosses are going to be, imagine how over the top and just like what kind of eye candy we're gonna get out of the finale of this. And then it's a rock.
You know what would be? You know what actually would help it out? Now that I'm
I got a
thinking about it?
rock.
I'm thinking of other orb fights. Is anyone familiar with Final Fantasy IX?
Yes.
Oh.
Ozma. Like if you just put a different texture on there, let me play off of something you said earlier, Wayne, because it's something I thought of one time as a child, and you reawoken a memory. I don't know if we talked about this before, but like, what if the final name that comes up isn't the end, but what if it said instead Death Egg?
You know what? I would have liked it just a little bit more.
You would just been like, whatever. It's like, oh, that's a literal egg. We have to stop that thing from opening up. Like, that would have been fucking crazy.
Like, I didn't even have to see what was in it necessarily for the way that it was, if you could at least break it apart and see that there's something looming within it.
And, I mean, even then, I would take a Dark Gaia reskin or a Perfect Chaos allusion to it or something. I do still think they needed another final fight after that. Even if it was, like Pup said, punching the moon. I would have been laughing like a lunatic if it all led to us punching the moon, and I would have a different completely. But something else has to happen.
It would be the boulder punching from Resident Evil all over
If I
again.
could punch the shit out of the moon, that would be the greatest experience of my entire life.
You know what, Pup? Like we've been like bickering back and forth quite lovingly. I hope because I've been having a great
fuck
time.
you. You can fuck yourself. I hope you die.
But like, if there's one thing I think we can all agree on here, guys.
Yeah.
Sonic should punch the moon.
He
I
should punch the
still
moon.
think he should punch the moon, and that's the final blow before it cracks open and reveals.
You just
like, an
really
actual
want the moon to
interesting
be a
boss inside of
fucking
it.
egg, don't you?
Yes, because a giant round rock is fucking boring. I'm fine with him punching the moon or whatever.
You find
as
the
long as there's
moon
something
boring.
inside of it.
Imagine Wayne goes to space, and like Neil Armstrong's like, that's one small step for man, and Wayne's just fucking there with his little jacks, just like, I'm fucking bored, Neil, take me home.
But like,
That
that's
is
the
the
thing,
most
though, man. Like,
for a final boss capping off this particular adventure, fucking yes, it is boring.
He's
Why
fighting
is
the
the
moon.
moon?
That's
Why
so
is,
fucking
why
cool.
is the end literally behind?
Femrin!
No context! If it was our moon, that would be one thing. We have no fucking reason to care
Our
about
moon
this
isn't
piece of rock
scary.
to
Our
begin
moon
with.
is just a fucking
Look.
normal moon. That one's purple. It's scary.
I mean,
That's
I think it's just like it. The problem I have with it is like that's the easiest win for me. I was bringing up Kirby because that instilled in me at a young age. I love moon fights. They're really fucking cool because some of the most memorable fights in my history of gaming has been fucking Ozma, the moon from Kirby, which isn't a moon. Again, it's more like an egg. But that and like Majora's Mask isn't technically a boss fight, but I still fucking love it. That's the easiest win. And they couldn't do it. I like Femrin here, though. Femrin's got it right. Sonic should piss on the moon. That's what Eggman's doing.
He goes
We're just
out,
distracting.
Supersonic
We're
piss.
distracting it while Eggman's sneaking up behind it so he can piss on it.
takes out his quilly dick, and he takes a piss.
I'm fine with moon version of the end as long as that's not it. As long as there's more to it than that, because I think it would be fine if it was in a different game that hadn't established what a giant encounter should be like in this kind of game. And it just does not follow up on the potential that was established earlier on.
So you'd be fine with fighting a moon had we not had the Titans.
Pretty much. Or maybe in just a different kind of game, but again, we saw what boss fights are like in this game, and the moon version of the end is not a satisfying conclusion to what was built up beforehand.
That's why I
Of
say
all-
let us punch it.
I
Yeah.
want to punch
Yeah.
it too, but I still want there to be more inside of there than just that.
Counterpoint.
I-
punch
he
it
wants that. He
repeatedly.
wants a moon with a yoke.
Yeah.
You know, there's an episode of Doctor
I-
Who called Kill the Moon, where the moon is an egg, but the episode is supposed to be kind of an accidental abortion allegory.
Oh damn.
It ended up being...
Jesus.
It's supposed to accidental.
No, the thing that really pissed me off... Well, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so the writer didn't intend for it to be a pro-life allegory, but it totally ended up being one. But, like, there's this bit at the end which is hilarious to me, where the moon hatches, and you see this dragon creature come out, and then this kid goes, "Oh my god, Doctor, it laid another egg," which is the exact same moon as before. It just... This fucking tiny fucking dragon laid another moon right behind it in the exact same spot, which looks the exact same. So forgive me if I'm against the concept of the moon being an egg after that fucking experience. But
Well, again, it's just a rock, and that's why I used the term chrysalis
it's not
earlier.
a rock, it's a moon, it's beautiful.
Do you know
But
what?
we also-
Do you know what a moon is made out of?
Moons. Moon.
It's made out of
cheese.
moons.
It's made out of cheese.
It's made out of. Okay, cool. Do you know what cheese is? It's a milk rock.
Cheese is also a substance found around the foreskin if you don't wash. Which brings me to our next fucking topic, alright? So, Kishimoto was asked if he had any interest in momentum in future games, and he said yes he does. He wants a momentum focus for the next game, and is focusing on playing around with it. Boys, people, fuckers, what do we think to this idea? Do we think it's gonna happen? Do we think it's likely? Do we want it to happen? Fuck me.
I think it's neat. Can we talk about the moon now?
Would like someone besides Kishimoto to direct the next game. That's what I think.
That's so fucking mean-spirited.
Yep,
Who cares?
it's my money. So sorry. Sorry. But like I played his games.
Yeah.
I shouldn't need somebody on Twitter to be like give him like the oh yeah, I guess momentum could be cool.
You shouldn't need the Sonic Frontiers was good actually 3-hour video essay to explain to you why you should like it.
No. But we're gonna get it anyway.
We are.
So anyways, yeah, I think it's good that he is interested in momentum. Like, At the end of the day, I've been, a person that has been pretty flexible when it comes to Sonic gameplay styles. I like the boost. I like the adventure gameplay style. I like, the classic style. I think they're all pretty good. But I think if one thing has been kind of brought to my attention by Sonic Lost World and Sonic Frontiers, I'm going to say it before you do, both Kishimoto games, it's that 2D Sonic gameplay without a momentum component is boring as fuck. So if you're going to insist on 2D, you got to have a little momentum. But even then, I would think it would be pretty fucking cool to see this thing capitalized on a lot more in the open zones, and I've played mods that put more of an emphasis on it, and they make the game better. So the bottom line is, whether it's boost, whether it's anything else, I think there's always room for a healthy dose of momentum-based gameplay, especially when it comes to loop-de-loops, because I don't want to be able to just walk around those things. Alright, I got my point out.
So here's the thing I keep seeing with people debating about Sonic Momentum on Twitter. I think when it comes to a platformer, you need to have momentum in mind in general, because that's basic physics, which is kind of important for platformers. And let's make no mistake here, I'm heavily critical on the final product that is Sonic Frontiers. It's a fun fucking time. That's a fun video game. You can't always predict what Sonic is going to do, and that is a problem. Because if you actually get off of the rails for a little bit and just run straight through some of those fields or rocky patterns and stuff like that, on occasion, he's just going to kick off of a little pebble and he's going to start doing Tony Hawk tricks off to the left for some fucking reason. Like, it's like you got to tighten it up for a platformer in general. So, yeah, even if it's not the entire focus, fucking figure it out. Get some fucking momentum in there, because it's a little weird right now. And yeah, I agree with you, Pup. I think you made a great point. Like, 2D Sonic without momentum is boring. It's clearly there just as a nostalgic callback without really understanding why it was fun to begin with, and that's a problem.
Another reason I'm also rooting for Kishimoto though is also just I think Sega needs to stop with Sonic shake-ups for a bit and just get better at what they're doing now. Keep the same team around for a bit and see them get better. Because this is the thing that always happens, is whenever things are on the verge of getting better, you got a cool foundation, Sega's scrap that, scrap all of it, new people, new this, that, and the other. I say nurture the talent we got now, get it better, and see where it goes. Because I'm pretty confident in saying that I think, fuck it, you know how it is. Whenever you leave a gameplay style as it is for a bit, it only gets better. Look at the classic Sonic games, for example. 1 is the worst fucking one. 3 and Knuckles, the last one, is the best one. Yeah,
but that's the confusing thing about Frontiers, though, because we keep talking about that, hey, stick to something that works. They have been since 2008. And this is easily, hands down, the worst boost game of all of them. At the same time, being the best one. It's super weird.
So it's like the best game, but the worst boost gameplay.
So they clearly chopped up the team, one to work on open world, one to work on
right, we're talking cyberspace.
Right. Yeah, and it's just we keep leaving it out of the conversation, and I think that's kind of telling.
I think cyberspace is more of a footnote in conversation at this point, because I think a lot of us forget to mention it in a way. So sometimes we're I'm really dissatisfied with this, and we're talking about cyberspace. And then it's is it that bad? Because I keep hearing... I think, in some regards, Frontiers has the best Sonic has ever played. In the open zone, that is. In cyberspace, yeah, it can go eat a dick. But in the open zone, the turning is buttery smooth, and I gotta take into account things like the combat elements and stuff like that. It's good to have those there. But I'll say this, yeah, Sonic fucking Unleashed, Sonic Generations, Sonic Colors, heck, fucking Sonic Forces had a much better grasp on, gravity than Sonic Frontiers does.
It's so weird, because, with Frontiers, when you look at the open zone, it's so strange that we have a Sonic that controls so well, but a level that is so dull. When we're used to getting Sonics that control really slippery or really finicky with levels that actually really accommodate him instead. It's a weird juxtaposition.
It's why I really enjoy Rhea Island. It feels like a promise of things to come. It feels like a cyberspace stage that isn't fucking garbage. But, Yeah, no, the point I guess I'm trying to make here is, like, I don't know, like, I think if you take the Sonic that we have in Frontiers right now, you don't have to do a lot to tweak him into what I would consider to be a really, really, almost perfect Sonic playstyle. I would say, just get a bit more momentum in his gameplay, in his speed and stuff like that. Remove the obvious speed caps, but also make it so that, like, he can't fucking climb up a loop-de-loop from a walking speed. Make gravity make sense. I'd also say things like pebble flinging and stuff. Okay, you got a funny little exploit there. Make things in that world that are designed to do purely that, because I like doing that. But yeah, you're right.
Like a ramp or something.
Yeah, you're absolutely right when you say it shouldn't be done off of a fucking pebble. I think that's another thing, though, is, like, when I look at the open zone of Frontiers, and I look at, like, the foundation below, the terrain and everything, I feel like this is a nice space where I can just control Sonic. But too often when we get into a platforming area, it's now laden with boost pads and fucking dash ramps. And these things aren't even necessary. You can do these things perfectly fine without them. So it's another thing of, like, not having much faith in the player. I also know that dash pads are put before loop-de-loops to disguise the fucking fact that there is no fucking gravity with these things. They are programmed to be Spider-Man walls, effectively. I think, stop relying so much on making things cinematic and make a game where I can play it like a fucking idiot and it's still not completely break the entire experience.
But I think that's why I kind of want them to just kind of focus up on, if whatever DLC they're working on, get it done good, because I do think there still needs to be a bit of polish there. But I wouldn't focus too much on changing a lot in terms of the base mechanics, and really just focus up on whatever game is coming next. Because, again, Sonic is a 30-year running franchise, and this is getting good praise for the most part, right? Like, most of the fan base loves this game. Most of the casual audience is fairly interested in it, and regardless of the problems, at the end of the day, we're still having a good time. So, like, I would just, like, start from the ground level with what you learned from this game and build from the ground up instead of trying to add on to it. Because I think regardless of what they do with rolling or this or that and the other, it's not going to make a difference on all these landscapes that I don't think were designed with Sonic completely in mind here. Because there's so many, like, platforming asks for some of the little collectibles that don't really make sense. And again, some of the traversal also doesn't make a lot of sense. Deeper you go into the game, I still think, like, early on, the first two islands showcase that so much better. So I would just say, yeah, build all of that with that in mind. This is where I would start getting creative, because the new elements they bring into Sonic Frontiers, I still think are probably the best. I really like the side loop. I really like the combat. I just like having more space to move around. I thought cyberspace was weak as hell. I thought the design for, like, the rails and stuff were fine in the open zone, but they're not. They're very limiting. They're just kind of boring. I want to see the new elements just really, really formed up with whatever is coming next, because goddamn it, it was so fun seeing new things in Sonic again and having them be the best parts of a Sonic game.
I think the only thing I ask, okay, this is the bare minimum I ask, is if you could just put a script in there that if I'm approaching a loop-de-loop at a low speed, I can't get round it. That's the bare minimum. If you could do that,
you don't ask for much, Pup. You really don't. You just want Sonic to act like he should around a loop-de-loop and punch a moon. I respect that.
I just want shit to make sense and be satisfying.
What if he rolls off a loop-de-loop and flies into the moon to punch it?
Mate, if you can take the loop-de-loop and make it cool again, like, I'm fucking game, you know? At the end of the day, loop-de-loops are fucking important, you know? Like, and if you're not gonna get it right, don't put it in there. But, like,
It is, no, you got a good point, because it's weird, right?
Actually,
it's one of, like, the most quintessential, like, that is the Sonic thing. That's what he established, like, in the first level of his first game. That was like, you know,
that was
Mario
it.
had
That was,
blocks.
like, I mean, you have the hills, right? Like, the ramps are really important. and then like they just shove it in your face. We're like, oh, okay, the basic understanding of Mario is getting you through some of the basic mechanics, but like here's why Sonic is special.
Yeah, and
I've been waiting for that in the 3D environment for fucking ever.
And if you take that and you fuck it up, then it's almost like we haven't got the fundamentals here. All I'm asking is that there be a speed requirement to get through a loop-de-loop. That's all I ask, and I will give Frontiers a 10 out of 10. I will marry the game if you can do that. Yeah, and I've seen some people say, you know, with a loop-de-loop in 3D, though, you can just hop to the other side of it, which you can. Make them tubes. Make them tubular.
Maybe,
make it like a tube.
well, maybe the fun part about 3D and Sonic is you just have that option. Yeah. And they designed that with that understanding.
There's that, but if you want a game that forces you to do it, make it a tunnel that he has to run through, and then the tunnel does a loop-de-loop. Then you can't jump to the other side.
That's my problem with those, though. I'm tired of being just fucking bottlenecked into fucking rails.
No, but you're only bottlenecked at the loop. Once you come out of the tube, you've got free reign.
Or we
When's
could
the last
just
time we saw the corkscrew?
That's
like from Sonic 2.
That's in there.
It's in this game.
It's in Frontiers, but it's all scripted.
Is it?
It's entirely
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I would like an unscripted corkscrew. Like,
in fairness,
that'd
though,
be fun.
In fairness, I will praise them for the fact that Frontiers has actually sliced a lot of scripted play-itself events in half. Like, there's a lot less of it in Frontiers Cyberspace than there was in previous ones. I'll praise it for that. You still got further to go, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we barely...
Gilly, since we stopped talking Zelda, you went quiet again. Do you have any thoughts about what you'd like to see next with any of this shit?
He'll be right back. You had to step away for a second.
Oh, I didn't even see the Discord. Oh, shit.
I'm the only one that pays attention to the back rooms, but that's fine.
We gotta do better. Like, we keep talking about that, right? Like, we should always have the back rooms up.
Oh, I've always got... I've got 3 monitors, so I've always got, like... I've got the stream on one monitor, I've got, like, Discord on another, and I'm... just for the sake of professionalism, I'm not going to say what I've got on the middle monitor.
Porn. Alright, so...
Actually, that sounded a lot worse than if I had just said that I was playing video games.
So, okay, we got 2 more subjects.
He's playing some very wholesome video games.
That was like the least lewd fan art of all time, and y'all turned it into dirtiest shit.
She had some great melons.
Got such a dirty mind, pup.
Yeah, we all do.
She had magnificent melons. Anyways,
what?
We've got 2 more subjects now to talk about. Morio Kishimoto, saying that name a lot in this episode, but go figure, it's about him, has said that he wants to remove the boost and restore the spin dash. He said that the boost games addressed a fan desire for Sonic Rush mechanics to be implemented into 3D titles. However, keeping with that philosophy, he feels like future games should address the growing desire for more adventure-style titles. And so basically he wants to return to a bit more the Sonic adventure style of traversal. So, discuss. What are we thinking?
You know what I've always kind of thought about momentum, or not momentum, but the boost button? I've been thinking about this for a long time now. I do think it makes Super Sonic in in a fully playable state kind of useless. What I would have liked, instead of just boost being all over the place all the time, I would make that the final unlock. Like, that's when you go fucking crazy with levels you've already kind of managed. Just have full-on wild buck nutty fun. Treat it like a burnout car. Who cares?
I think this is
so. I like to pull back a little bit.
So just like adventure Sonic when he's regular Sonic, and boost Sonic when he's in Supersonic mode, kind of.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of was of the feeling when Frontiers came out. Prior to that, so let's take into account that boost in Frontiers is a very different beast to what it was in the games that came before it. Boost was a very fun, destructive power fantasy playstyle. But with Sonic Frontiers, obviously the power fantasy is much more in the combat section, so the boost was reduced in power into more like a run button. And I think that's actually a pretty smart idea. Like, I think the idea, though, would be more that it does serve as more of a, this is your super speed button, but before that, Sonic can still run at a relatively okay pace for the sake of precision platforming. I think they pretty much did that, but I'd like it to be more like, okay, the boost will now release your momentum effectively. It's capped to a certain point, for the sake of platforming versatility, but once you get boost in, the sky's the limit as far as speed goes. I love that idea. Which would mean it's not so much a boost so much as it is more like just a removal of a cap. But,
It's Shadow's limiter rings.
as it stands, like, I'm also game for, like, a gradual build-up of speed, because as it is, boosting Sonic was perfectly controllable in platforming sections in Frontiers, outside of cyberspace. Bear in mind, unless I specify cyberspace, I'm talking purely about open zone. So, I would say I am honestly game for things like actual momentum-built speed and the spin dash to make a comeback. I would absolutely be game for that. As I say, I'm pretty flexible when it comes to Sonic playstyles. There's no playstyle where I feel like this is what it must be, just on the proviso that we don't lose complete track of what made Sonic great, you know? Like, as long as this new playstyle recognizes what it is I like about Sonic, I'm okay. As it stands, though, yeah, I would absolutely be game for moving more in the direction of classic Sonic-style gameplay in the open zone. I just hope we're not going to lose sight of the new additions like combat and stuff. I don't want us to necessarily go back to purely adventure-style gameplay where we don't have our combat moves anymore. That would
Or
be
we're
a
just
downgrade.
we're back to the homing attack and slide as
like,
the only real ways to kill things.
After Frontiers, I don't think I can go back to just chasing down a boss and jumping on it.
No, and I don't think anyone's asking them to just give us like easily cheesable boss fights anymore. What I would ask of them, and this is a huge ask, obviously, but again, this is Sonic. I would like those physics to kind of come more into play when it comes to combat as well. Like if you just roll, like if you just really build up a roll and run into like a really heavy boss or something, you can just knock it to the side. Or like, I don't know, like the sumo fight I keep thinking about. The sumo fight is one of the most fun mini boss fights I felt, and that's because you kind of knock it all over the fucking place. I think they could implement more ideas like that if they build the physics and the combat in tandem with each other, because they did a pretty solid start in terms of building combat that makes sense for Sonic, easy to pick up, easy to jump in and out of when current in terms of standard gameplay. And I mean, instead of I should say, but I think there's room for improvement on both the physics front and the combat front. And I think if you continue to marry those two, now that they've proven they can do it and the audience has reacted fairly well, if you're outside of game journalism, then yeah.
I think
let's see what they can do.
Suris made
I don't
a
know.
great point. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, you know how that went. The journalists playing Sonic Frontiers got really confused when they didn't know you had to shoot those blocks that were above you.
Oh, for God's sake! He's not a game journalist. David Jaffe's not a game journalist. He's an old game dev who just rambled about something he didn't like on the stream.
That I know. I still
Worse.
think it's funny.
So,
I need you to calm it down, Wayne, because I need to get a hold of him about something specific that he made. So just knock it off.
I think Suris...
Okay, so what you're saying is new podcast, time to complain about the original God of War games. Let's go! Okay.
Suris made a really good point in his 2.5 hour long Goliath of a Sonic Frontiers review, where he said that the Psyloop in a lot of ways is kind of akin to like the tornado attack in Sonic Heroes. I think it would be cool if, let's say the Psyloop is exclusive to the Starfall Islands, which would be a bit of a shame, because I really like that move. It's very satisfying, but
You kind of suck.
You could make it so he has more like a wind streak kind of thing, so it does the same thing as a Psyloop, but given that Sonic can now run in a circle quite safely, make it so that you could have an attack where when you hold down the triangle button and run around in the circle, it actually does create a little tornado that will scoop up all of your enemies. That kind of thing would be really cool. But also, like one slight example, and yes, they can go further with it, but if you use the drop dash in combat, it can actually do quite a bit of damage.
What I'm worried about is I think the Psyloop's going to be the new Wisp, where it's just going to keep coming back because they got good praise for it, and it is fun, don't get me wrong, but like it does too much. It kind of breaks the game in a lot of little areas. So I would like them to kind of bring it back a little bit. Like maybe it doesn't need a pop out, just rewards every time you fucking use it anywhere. Thought that's a little ridiculous. But yeah, I like the idea of it. Like maybe it's not a Psyloop anymore, but they recontextualize it into a different attack. I would be very happy with that. I would say though, in terms of like the whirlwind, I would say that would be an unlock later on. Like that would be something I would unlock in the combat branch if they do that again. make that a big final, attack you can do to somebody.
At risk of also sounding contrarian, I would be perfectly happy for the side loop to be a permanent addition, but I do agree that it's a little too rewarding. I think things like rings and stuff are fine because Frontiers change the nature of a Sonic game. Like sometimes when you're in mid-fight, you don't necessarily have the ability to run around and search for rings, so making it so that you can spam a side loop and get some rings out of it was a good move. But I think things like heart tokens and stuff like that, yeah, those should be locked behind the actual challenge of the game.
I think maybe making it to where rings worked a little more like the health in Metroid Other M would maybe work, because in Other M, I don't hate the concentration mechanic, where you can just kind of you can get a single bar of health off of concentrating.
Yeah, I guess put a limit on how many rings you can get out of it, I guess.
Like, hey, you can get a single ring off of this, which is all you need. You just need the single ring. You can get a single ring off of this. You can't get much higher than that. You can't get anything higher than that. And they could do that, especially if, like, in later games, rings served the same purpose they did in Adventure 1 and 2, where they were also a currency for some of the sub-game stuff. If they did that in future games, which I would like, then keeping the Psy Loop as it is, but, just kind of giving it that cap would be good.
I would then say, if you're going to do Supersonic boss fights, though, put a few rings around so that the player still has a chance to get the rings up a little bit during the boss fight. They did it in Wyvern, they just didn't do it in the others.
Or just, when you do the Supersonic boss fight, you start out with a certain number of rings, because starting those fights out with 400 rings makes me... it feels really weird to have, like, zero pressure.
Yeah, I was hoping I think I said this before, like, this inspired a bit of the script. But I think you guys specifically corrected me before I did some more tinkering around with the game. I assumed, and I don't know why I assumed it, but, like, the first part of the fight while you're making your way to the Chaos Emerald was also when you need to collect your rings. And whatever you go with is what you're going into the fight with. Mm-hmm. I thought that would have been a really cool way to actually add the challenge in terms of the supersonic portion of the fight. Is you make your own time limit. How well you can hold on to your rings is entirely up to you in the first part of the fight. So I think it would make sense, especially because I'm very worried they're gonna just bring back, like, the really positive stuff and just run it into the ground, just like they did with Generations.
We need a proper hard mode, If you're going to do things like easy, normal, and hard mode actually needs to have elements like that. You can't get quite so many things out of the ground. But the boss fights have more HP, stuff like that.
I really wish that the Titan bosses had been harder to fight.
Well, I mean, that aside, though, like, yeah, I think those are, for instance, those are a thing I would change in terms of what we already have, because I don't really think it's going to take much dev time to just tweak some things and make those boss fights a little bit harder. But I'm talking, like, in the future, like, in terms of how you actually play these fights out, because they're going to bring this particular thing back. I would hope that if they do big, wild-ass fights in the future, maybe we put a hold on Supersonic for a little bit.
Yeah, you can still have these fights with the regular Sonic and still have that spectacle,
I think so, yeah. I mean, like, Perfect Chaos and Generations, for instance. That was pretty cool.
Now that we've got a Sonic that has combat abilities and stuff, imagine, like, a Sonic versus Shadow fight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Make it so that he can counter, like, your counterattacks and stuff.
That could also make it to where there's a difference, not in necessarily how they move, but there's a difference in how Sonic and Shadow would fight.
Oh, I feel stupid. So, like, I've been meaning to ask you guys, other Sonic people. I was replaying Sonic Adventure 2 recently, and this just kind of brought this back into my mind. So, like, am I missing something? Or is the fight between Sonic and Shadow at the end of that game kind of bad?
It's, so...
Are you talking about SA2?
Yeah.
The Arc fight. So
where you're running and then it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not, like, your homing attack is actually going to connect.
So the
it's
idea,
not
I think it's messy, but I really like it.
The idea is it's meant to be like the Mr. Freeze boss from Arkham City, in that he learns from
the
attacks, but...
Yeah, the homing attack works the homing attack works the first 2 times. After the first,
you do him.
The thing with
what's up?
The thing with that, though, is Sonic only comes equipped with one attack in that game, effectively being the homing attack. So what works for like Batman and Mr. Freeze is Batman's got an arsenal of different ways he can fight him. When it comes to Shadow, there comes a point where I'm just like, well, what the fuck do you actually want me to do? You know, like
you use the bounce bracelet or you use the roll.
Yeah, but they're pretty unintuitive.
I mean, yeah, but also the way that fight's supposed to be is after the homing attack stops working, you have to start waiting for them to provide an opening for you.
Well, my main point is that if they're gonna keep doing the Saya loop, the least they could do is give you temporary invisibility when you draw an Amogus.
I hate my life.
God damn it.
I'm about to
We should
Sudoku.
let people know. First off, I'm gonna kill my dog. She doesn't stop barking. Everything. 3 times in the middle of the
Run her
night.
down
just
with your
barking.
car.
Anyway, but also we got to mention too, Gilly's not feeling great, so he's not going to be coming back for the rest of the episode.
Rest of the show.
Okay.
Period. This is the last episode with Gilly. Sorry, guys.
He's dead. Unfortunately, he died. You know, God got another angel in his choir today. So
He died of dead, guys.
he died doing what he loved. Getting real mad about Ocarina or Majora's Mask, whatever it is. Fuck it.
Now, by the way, have you guys noticed how I changed the super chat alert on the video?
I don't have the audio, otherwise I'd be hearing like everybody's
said
voices
video.
twice.
Did you change it to the moon? All right.
I mean, I just see the
I
moon
gotta
behind
shut
us
up
in
this
general.
dog. I gotta go. Be right back.
All right, so
Everybody's leaving.
He is.
we got one more topic from Kishimoto before we can move on to the super chats.
Oh, what is the one burger?
The one burger would
What
be
is the one burger?
opening up cyberspace stages. So obviously keeping in mind, you know, you have the open zone element and then you have the sort of the individual stages within that. I think Kishimoto said that he wants more open stages for the cyberspace equivalent in the next game, I guess.
It'd be neat if like there were some cyberspace stages that were a little bit more like, because there was a couple that were based off of like Rail Canyon or something like that. Honestly, like some of my favorite 3D Sonic stage layouts always come from Sonic Adventure 1, where it really does just kind of feel like a little sandbox. Maybe like that on sort of a micro scale.
I mean, yeah, I think they did open it up a bit in the latter part of Frontiers, where you started. There's that one city level, and it's an original, and it's pretty open-ended, and there's lots of different ways you can go. Like, that's an original one, and it showcases just how cool a Sonic level can actually be. More like that would always be welcome in my book.
Yeah, it's like I would prefer like less cyberspace levels, but more of them that were made on that level, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely over the whole let's reuse stage layouts, and especially let's reuse stage themes.
I really don't think that should have happened. I like one Green Hill Zone level maybe, but like beyond that, it felt really. I hate saying lazy when it comes to like the development process of a video game, because it's one of the least lazy things you can do. But
I mean, it's lazy from a certain end, from a certain standpoint. It can be like you could say from like a producer standpoint to just say, oh yeah, just use the levels you got existing. It's a lazy, complacent attitude.
I mean,
well, then again, I guess I also was bitching about the end being lazy too, so that's me being kind of hypocritical.
I mean, you're just hypocritical in general when it comes to the end. Fuck you. It's a good.
I think
move.
I think it's weird that Sonic games have moved really far away from the Act 1, Act 2 structure, specifically. Because, like, okay, in when it came to reusing level assets, in Sonic Colors, we had the Acts 1 through 6 thing, which they weren't really more acts the same way that we're used to seeing them, but it was kind of something similar to that. It's weird that we haven't gotten just a lot of levels made with similar assets as if they are acts, as a way to like elongate the way we get those kind of levels. The closest thing we've gotten to that, I guess, is just Frontiers having the 4 level layouts that are superimposed from generations.
Yeah.
I just 4.
What?
4, man. Like, you couldn't have just grabbed a couple more.
Yep, it's
I
just
mean,
4.
you have them there. You use them all the time.
So
We could have gone back to Crisis City.
Nick,
Nope.
I was like,
You know,
I
what
was
would be-
angry when I thought we were going to get all the levels from Sonic Generations.
We only got 4.
I have a concept that is kind of like just jumped into my brain. If we're gonna be doing something kind of Frontiers-esque for the next game, what if sorry, I kind of had a little bit of a brain fart.
Hey, fine.
So maybe even instead of like doing different, maybe one island can have different forms depending on era, because they bring back the freaking time stones.
I was gonna say, this is a Sonic CD remake?
Dude, Sonic CD has at least some concepts I think would be really interesting to mess around with in a structure like that.
I've really been wanting them to kind of play again with a lot of, because like it's such a weird little thing about Sonic's world specifically. Another reason why I don't like calling it Earth is like just every year there's this thing called Little Planet just shows up in the orbit and it has time fucking control aspects to it. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Like, if you're gonna do like reusing assets in a cyberspace level, have the time stones be having an effect on them, and instead of like one level structure being based off of like, you know, just Green Hill Zone or something, have it be swapping between, you know, like Green Hill Zone, Sandopolis, like all of these like theme things, because time and space is breaking in the middle of this level or something like that. Do something visually interesting with it if you're going to be reusing assets at all.
That'd be a cool way to do it, but it's, as I say in my latest video, we have no relationship with these stages outside of the meta. You know, like,
Yeah.
we don't know what Green Hill Zone is yet. You know, it's the first place we met Sonic, alright, but like, what is it? You know,
what does that mean as far as a narrative is concerned?
Yeah, and then same goes for Chemical Plant. Like, okay, if Sega wants to build these places up as, these are locales that will appear in every Sonic game, we need to have an actual relationship with this place. Yet the Chemical Plant, who owns it? What's it for? What chemicals are made? What are the chemicals? You know, what is any of this? We know nothing about it.
Sonic Forces almost led me to believe that Chemical Plant was owned by Eggman specifically.
The thing is, there's no Eggman imagery on it, which is what...
Yeah, which kind of throws that whole thing out the window.
Yeah, like... And that was another thing I said in this video, is like, okay, they tried to contextualize it in Sonic Forces by saying, oh, there's a launch base here in the Chemical Plant. Okay, but why is it in the Chemical Plant? Why could we not have had Launch Base Zone, the launch base from the Sonic games?
I mean, it made sense for, like, a launch base to be in a pyramid in Sonic Adventure 2, because that was established as one of Eggman's many bases. Of course there's going to be a launch base there. Chemical Plant is just, like, if it's just a random thing that is owned by random people in Sonic's universe, there's, like, one of them's like, oh, yeah, and also, Eggman contracted me to have a launch base here. Why? For reasons.
So, anyways, we do need to...
He was paying money.
We do need to kind of reinstate the point for Nick. So the point we're on right now is Mario Kishimoto basically said that for the next cyberspace analog, I guess, the next kind of little zone within the open zone, he wants to open them up a bit and make those feel a bit more open too, which I think is a good thing. Another thing, though, is I do worry that this could all be lip service, because this all sounds very much like, I want to make your ideal game.
That's just right up Sonic Team's alley, isn't it?
I mean, it's sales, isn't it? You got to do what you can to get the money in your wallet.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, in that case, why even bother being on Twitter and talking to hardcore Sonic fans? Like, it's going to sell the kids first and foremost. Still, so I still think there's some genuine honesty with what he's saying, and I do appreciate that.
I'm just saying, worst case scenario is it's all lip service.
Yeah, no, I get you. Worst case scenario for me, and I hate to be the asshole, but I'm gonna have to be the asshole. Is not so much wanting to do it, is more, can he do it?
Will Sega give them the time?
Not
Will
even
Sega
that,
give them the
man.
money?
Like, it's, I mean, that's definitely a factor. I mean, that's clear as day in this game. But also, like, the buck's got to stop somewhere, and we've had the same fucking people here for decades calling the shots. So, you know, we have consistently inconsistent products from the same people running the show. And he's not... I'm sorry, Frontiers is a fun time. He's not proven to me that he's capable of putting out a stellar banger Sonic game, because I think the best ideas from Colors came from Unleashed, and the best implementation of Boost came from Generations, the 2 games he didn't work on.
You know what? You know what Frontiers makes me want though, Nick. Now that you're bringing it up, if we're talking about like different devs and shit, can we just have a Frontier sequel that Platinum gets to have a hand on?
I would like to see. I just want more. We talked about this before. I just want more Sonic games made by not Sonic Team. I'm fine with Sonic Team like continuing to rebrand and grow and get the proper funding and talent behind this once prestigious name. At the same time, though, I think all of our favorite Sonic experiences came from other dev teams, and I'm kind of tired of how dismissive the fan base and the overall gaming journalism folks are with a lot of those, because I still think some of the greatest games that have come out from Sonic these last couple decades, honestly, have been the handheld titles from Dimps or obviously Sonic Mania. And I know a lot of that's because it's 2D.
Did you say this decade with Dims? Because I don't think Dims have even made.
No. I said last couple decades.
Oh,
last couple decades.
All right, because yeah, I am kind of still thinking though. I think it's still a Sega thing, and I think Sega's kind of, I don't know, not been the best with third-party developers lately. Like, the most recent examples we've got is... Okay, Mania's a good example. Mania's a good example. But then we look at things like Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 and 2. We look at Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. I like Shattered Crystal and Fire and Ice, but I get that they're not well-received games. You know, Sonic Lost World on the 3DS, that was a Dimps one. Fucking... Like... it's a crapshoot when it comes to the other developers outside of Sonic Team in the most recent years, which does lead me to believe that Sega's just really fucking bad at working with third-party developers. Sonic Colors Ultimate as well.
On Sonic games specifically, though, that's the thing. Like, is that the track record that's held with Sega and all third-party devs when they're just operating more as publisher, or is that strictly a Sonic thing?
Something I need to clarify as well in terms of like the crapshoot or anything like that. I do feel like a lot of fans have this conversation in terms of like who's at fault with why a Sonic game turns out the way it does, and some of it pins the blame on the shareholders and whoever is producing this or that and the other, or is it Kishimoto, is it Iizuka or anything. My thought about it is, first off, again, let's be real, we don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes, but just from the context clues here, I don't think it's ever one exclusive reason. I think all of that can be true at the same time. So
I don't disagree. To be honest, I think when it comes to who's to blame, it's almost kind of a moot point. If the game's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And if, you don't like what you're receiving, don't buy anymore and stuff like that. I think, also, obviously, I don't subscribe to the whole don't like it, don't play it thing. But what I'm kind of getting at is, a review can say a game is bad without trying to find out who's responsible, if you get me. Like, you can be constructive without trying to fucking go after individuals. So, like, at the end of the day, it's why I'm always pretty charitable towards Kishimoto. At the end of the day, like, for better or for worse, I see a guy who recognizes the strengths in the Sonic brand and recognizes where it needs to go next. Whether or not he can do that, whether or not he's capable or whatnot, that's not my business. But if I like the next game, I'll like it. If I don't, I don't. That's just kind of how I view it.
I think it's still fair, though, to have fans that are trying to figure out who to point a finger at. I think it's I think it's a more complicated answer than we want to realize. We want to simplify it, we want to streamline it, but at the same time, I also understand, considering the history of the franchise, there's a through line of inconsistent quality, and I think that's more than fair for a fan base to be like, okay, something's been going on for a very long time. We need to root out the problem, and we need to put it to bed, because the fan base and this franchise deserve much better than this. But again, that's sounding more dire than I really mean when it comes to Frontiers. I still, at the end of the day, critiques aside, I still think it's a step in the right direction. I'm more positive than not, as critical as people will hear me be about it.
Is a fun game. Is a fun video game that we got to play with video games. But still.
Yeah. Well, we've done our fucking rambling here. Are there any more points we should touch on before we get to super chats?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right. Well, should we get going?
Eh?
No.
Okay.
Never mind. Show's over.
That's it. We're done.
So, Dazzle Fizzle sends $2. How did you get Kishimoto as a guest? Heh, we didn't. Thank you for the $2, Dazzle Fizzle.
That's the trick. You don't.
That's the fun part.
Sony CA with Sony. I said the currency like it was his name. Sony sent us 279 in California. Lost World is still peak of Kishimoto's career. Not an unpredictable take from Sony. Our forever Zavik stan. Yeah, ready for setting.
God. Sonic Fan 1661 for $5 said, "One of my favorite things to listen to after my last work day of the week. Well, I'm glad that us yelling at each other about moons is your favorite thing."
Moon.
I had a thought. I want to maybe make it a poll. I don't care. I want to hear from the audience here. I just while we were yelling about it, I was like, new merch prospect here. We need a shirt that says "Reach for the stars, punch the moon."
I just want I want a drawing of Pup just like pulling down his trousers, and instead of his ass, it's just the moon.
I would love a giant. I've been trying to figure out like the art in my head here. It's like, do we just have a picture of the moon being punched through, or do we have Pup on the surface of the moon just hitting the dirt? That's not the. For God's sakes, Pup. Moon good. Moon good. Moon bad.
I think Moon good. All right. Wallace.
I already used the Sunset City vote for Moon bad.
I think you're up, Wallace.
Boom.
I could just change that.
You could.
Fuck your democracy. Anyways, Wayne, you're up with the fallen Redditor. Oh, hang on. I'll put burger. Hang on.
Oh yeah, I do my burger. All right. The fallen Redditor with £2.
Euros.
Of
Those are
Pup's
euros.
Fist. Are those Europe's? Are those euros?
Europes.
They're Europe's.
I need a fucking nap.
2 euros.
Oh my god. All right. The fallen Redditor with with €2. Every level being Green Hill is Pup's nightmare.
It really is. Halloween special, right? So, Way Past Cool Kid sends $1.99. Good morning, boys. Favorite non-ice cap winter zone? Oh, it's got to be Cool Edge for me.
I think Ice Cap from Adventure 1 is the only one I like.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you take out the obvious choice for an obvious reason, because like Ice Cap from Sonic 3 to me is still the best of the best as far as that's concerned.
I got to go with also the Wii version of Cool Edge as well. I might disagree with
The Wii
Suris.
version of Cool Edge is actually
Oh my fucking
favorite.
god! If I could just finish, I might disagree with Suris's toilet brain take that the Wii version's better, but I gotta admit, having caves and shit in the Wii version made it better in my opinion. For the Cool Edge level, not the whole game.
Yeah.
I like jumping off of a whale. That was pretty cool.
That shit was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I have just an honest answer off the top of my head, because I'm having a hard time remembering every single one of them. What's up?
In chat, David Crespo, fucking Press Garden. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's fucking gorgeous. The music is amazing. It's super visually creative. Yeah, Press Garden. It's awesome.
Technically, Chemical Plant in Sonic Forces is a snow stage because there's snow in the
Fuck
air.
off. No,
Technically is.
No
It's
way.
technically at the bottom of the fucking list.
Damn.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. All right,
I mean, agree, but damn.
Nick Burger.
Burger. Oh, god damn it. Jorno with 5 Sonic R's. I love Kishimoto responding to someone that said, it's been 10 years since the last non-Kishimoto game. And he goes, I guess Mania and Boom don't exist. You know what? Props, Kishimoto. Props, buddy. I appreciate you actually going out of your way. Not only to mention Mania, but having the courage to just say, yeah, Boom happened.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. It happened. So,
It was still a game that a lot of dedicated people worked on, and final results, good or bad, not the fault of the developers either. There's not a day that goes by that I don't feel just really fucking bad for the team.
Sega was
that
absolutely the villain of that story, and Izuka was
Yeah.
also a bit of a villain in that story too.
God, they fucked it. They fucked that team over so bad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they destroyed some livelihoods with that one as well.
100%. And the most painful thing too is like one of the head guys from Sonic Extreme worked on it.
God damn it! Fuck!
Fun fact though, did you know that like the voice actor, the fucking USA voice actor for Chris Thorndike still works in the sound team on Sonic games?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, bloody go. Suris. Burger.
Sonic fan 1661 again. Thank you very much for the $2. Said Caddy should be a guest sometime.
I'd be game. We all know
I'm
him.
okay with that.
I mean, that's actually not. I feel like we probably could get him on, but he's not much of a Sonic guy, so.
Yeah.
True, but are
no,
we really much of a Sonic show?
No, I think we're all friendly with Caddy at this point, and he's a very sweet guy. He's an incredibly. If you're wondering how he is outside of his show, he is a very, very sweet man.
Yeah.
He's also a very, very busy man with a family, so I would love to have him on. It's going to depend largely on if he ever has the time, because he's always hard at work on his videos, and I think a lot of his downtime is spent, with his lady and kids. So, we'll see.
Wayne? Burger.
What burger?
Wayne is Burger.
Burger
we
is
got-
lost.
Aiden F with $10. Gaming advertising clearly peaked with "What's blue" and pisses all over everything.
Oh, dude, that was a good ad. Even the moon.
God, that would have been a great callback.
NBTV sends $15 Canadian. Hello, boys. Happy Friday. Can't stay today. Lots going on at work, but I had to stop by and throw money at your faces. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much, NBTV. You're incredibly generous.
Appreciate it, dude. All right, Black Yakuzu 94 with $20. Thank you. Holy cow. A new game came out, but is heavily simplified in terms of narrative after a very had a burp there, sorry. After a very narrative-heavy game before it, but is praised for its gameplay improvements. What game am I talking about? Sonic Colors or Fire Emblem Engage? Man, like that, it kind of ran on there a little bit. I got very confused reading that.
A new game came out, but is heavily simplified in terms of narrative after a very narrative-heavy game before it. But it's praised for its gameplay improvements. What game am I talking about? Sonic Colors or Fire Emblem Engage? This is not
I
so
guess I
hard.
could kind of go to both. The thing is that
I've not played Engage. I have no
That's-
idea.
I haven't
Yeah,
been
I'm
engaged
not sure.
with
I-
Fire Emblem.
I have thoughts, but that's gonna turn into like a giant rant, and we're going on a little long today as is. So I'm gonna hold on to that and say it could apply to both, and I'm not really happy about either.
Well,
for
if you
various
hadn't
reasons.
gotten all defensive over the moon, for fuck's sake, Wayne.
I wasn't defensive. I was right.
No, you were defending the moon.
I've been watching my roommate play Engage a little bit, and from what I've seen, it really looks like a really fucking good time. I'm not gonna lie.
It is a gameplay improvement, but one of the strongest. Never mind. Discussion for another.
Suris Burger.
Oh, thank you so much. Where are we again?
I put the burger there to answer that.
I can't see the burger. I only see moons. Speaking of that, Alex Mark, thank you for the $2. What if the end was multiple moons?
Would that make you happy, Wayne? 2 moons
No.
this time.
No.
Why? I don't know. if that helps
I want to
anything.
fight something I have an excuse to give a shit about.
2 moons.
Just, I mean, Crisis on Infinite Mobiuses, I guess. I like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what that would do.
Would it not
You know
be
what would be
Mobii? Mobii?
I don't
Mobies?
think so. Maybe?
Mobii.
That's a good
Sounds
question.
about right.
Mises.
Stop it.
Anyway. Whose turn is it?
Sonic fan, no. It's Wayne's
That's Wayne.
turn. Wayne?
Yeah. We got Sonic. Ooh, burp. We got Sonic Fan 1661 with $5. Why play other games? We only play Sonic games after all. For that is all we know.
And that's okay. If
Sometimes
you enjoy
it
it,
sure feels like that.
if you enjoy it, you do it, man. You do what you enjoy. Alright, so Phoenix sends £5. I'm back again for a Sunset City stream, and you guys are arguing over the moon. Nothing's changed. Heart, heart, heart.
We're pissing on each other over the moon.
We're pissing
I
on
think
each
that was
other's
one of
moons.
our better. I think that was one of our better rampages. If I'm honest.
I wish that we had the you know how like when Game Grumps get into it, they always have like the animated stuff that comes out afterwards.
No, I don't. I don't watch the Game Grumps. Nothing against them. I
Or
just
only
not
plays.
my thing.
Only plays.
I know. Oh,
I don't-
Nick,
I
need
just
to
don't
send
watch
you
that
something.
stuff.
Holy shit, Nick! I need to send you one of the.
All right.
It can wait for after the
All
show.
Yeah.
But,
We're
you
watching
know,
it together after the show.
Right.
I
This is
very
why you should get on
specifically-
Patreon and join us because we do stupid shit in the chat afterwards.
I want the I want that moon segment to actually turn into just like a big animated fight between all of us. It's just
Oh,
Well,
God.
if the Sunset City Underground want to collaborate on something, there you go. You got a project.
I love that Certified said like it's called Sunset City Underground. Content creators not allowed. I was like, oh, that's kind of like Sonic Underground. Sonic Man's not allowed.
Triplet moons born. The end awaits.
The CEO
All right.
warns of a deadly moon.
God damn it, Mr. SP with a $1.27 and nothing being a yogurt male. Also needs to be a shirt. He also needs to be a shirt.
You take the moon, and you take
take
the
the
moon, and you take the moon.
All right, Suris. The end.
oh, it is actually a moon this time. Thank you. Kid Rigid, thank you for the $10. I'm hoping for the next game we get a huge city level and they make the wall running smoother and less sticky. That way we can run up buildings like it's Sonic X and not feel glued to it. I just want the Sonic Adventure running up physics. Like I like how it felt to run on the buildings in freaking. Why can't I remember the highway level? Why is that
Speed
highway? I just like my brain was like radical highway. Wait, that's not. That's
Forget
not
it.
The one.
Half of your brain is just Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes, it is.
Wayne.
Is
I'm
it
not
the
gonna
hero half
complain.
or is it the dark half?
I'm not gonna complain. Sonic Adventure 1 takes up half of mine, so it's whatever. Anyway, the fucking eat a dick, pup. Mr. SP with $10. That moon behind
No.
Gilly. What?
No,
Oh, wait,
he's-
no,
that's
we're
that's
ahead.
correct.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm sorry.
stupid
I'm sorry.
bitch.
Damn it.
Let me do my best Nick impression. Can I fucking finish?
There it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Wayne.
Mr. SP with $10. That moon behind Gilly makes it look like he has a giant afro. What a good look.
Wait, Wayne. Can you figure out the emoji riddle I'm making here?
I don't want to.
It's the end comes for you all.
All right. it's a purple circle with the squirt emoji and then pointing at you. Not the royal you. It's specifically pointing at all of you hearing this right now.
Oh, for shame.
All right, burger. Wait, is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. Crimson Rose sends $20 saying, "Hey guys, is Gweely an official member now?" Gweely.
No. And yes.
Yes, Gweely is an official member.
I keep calling him the Green Ranger because it turns out that while we were trying to officially bring him on, it's been like at the absolute worst time in terms of scheduling here.
He's
Yeah,
gonna, I'm
probably.
gonna like this is the
Right now.
new Wallace though. I'm gonna call him Gweely from now on.
It should, he's the Batman of the Justice League. He's the Green Ranger of the Power Rangers. Jealous as I am because I fucking love that spandex. But yeah, he's here. But for now, he's gonna be the he's the Fonz showing up at Richie's house kind of a thing. That makes sense to anybody.
Nick.
But yes, he's an
You
official member.
Fucking fossil.
Hey,
Hey.
Killian McMurphy with a $1.99. Thank you. Twisted Metal Game Apologist. Probably not going to show up on the Game Apologist channel. Truth be told, I was going to do a Ninja Turtle exclusive channel until I got yelled at by some of my friends. The point of me making a second channel is because I feel a little creatively stuck when it comes to Sonic, and I really want to branch out. So I'm going to probably make a second channel that's not adhering to the Game Apologist setup. We'll still do that on the main channel, but there's still going to be heavy focus on Sonic. But expect a Twisted Metal video from me that's going to going to be under a different branding and format. But yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about fucking Twisted Metal. You better fucking believe it.
Suris Burger.
Crimson Rose, thank you for the $5. Sonic vs. Shadow, Dawn of Edginess.
Good movie. That would be a good fucking movie.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right, we got...
Burger.
Oh, man, I see. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, I wasn't sure where I was supposed to be at. Crimson Rose at $10. Here's a... I almost read that as Gwilly question. Here's a genuine question. What do you guys think would make Sonic Frontiers worth playing after beating the story?
Playing it again is what I tend to do.
It's a fun game to run through again, yeah. I want a boss rush.
Tutorial was a bit of a slog, though. I'll say that much. Yeah, boss rush I'd definitely be game for.
Yeah, make them harder, and then give me a boss rush.
They need to reconfigure their collectathon mentality entirely.
It ain't Banjo-Kazooie, I'll say that much.
Yeah. No, it's fucking mobile mechanics. Everything's a currency. Nothing's a collectible. Everything's a currency, and you have the sloppiest ways of getting them outside of the main core ways of doing it, which are fun. And then fishing ruins all of it. So.
Yeah, as happy as I was to see Big the Cat come back in like kind of a positive light, and I think the fishing minigame is funny and very chill. It is way too fucking useful.
I would say
it's too tied to the main currencies.
Make it so that you can't buy the main currencies of the game, or you can only buy a very small amount, and then make it so that Orinos Island's less fucking stingy and a bit more interesting, because my god, without Big, that final island's a fucking slog.
Yeah, you're only thankful for Big because you don't want to do the main core mechanics anymore at that point.
Yeah, but there's fuck all to do. They don't even have a cool Titan confrontation or anything like that, like in the middle of it.
They've got some. They still have some really cool ideas on there. You have to kind of dig for it, but yeah.
How great would it be if you had a small chance of pulling out something? I'm thinking
Nice.
like the Hylian Loach, but it's like it's just a fucking small Titan that you have to beat the shit out of.
That'd be funny as fuck.
I like the ghost boss fight.
I think
It's just one of the coolest. Like, yeah. Sorry.
Baby ghost.
Oh, he's laying on the couch right behind me right now.
Tell him I love him.
The little ghost like guardian I thought was sick because I didn't find that thing until I'd already beaten the game and I was trying to platinum it, and I discovered it accidentally and I fought. I was just like, what the shit? This is like the coolest guardian out of the whole fucking game.
Burger.
It's yeah. I mean, we've talked about that kind of extensively, Wayne. But as far as I'm concerned, the achievements are a little bit spotty in terms of some of the final things you have to do in the game. Yeah. What I thought was a really good one was having at least one encounter with every mini boss or whatever, like every form of enemy in the game.
Yeah.
Because that, I don't think without that, I think without that achievement, I would not have tracked that one down. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, like one of the best implemented fights in the game, which is really nice considering that Orinos Island has, I think, hands down some of the worst encounters. There's not too many new ones, but Jesus fuck, those hyenas or cheetahs.
I like what they did with the ninjas there, like how they made them much more aggressive on that island.
Yeah. I think it's important to. I need to say this about Frontiers. There are some enemy encounters that aren't the best, but for the most part, I think they did a pretty fucking good job with the variety throughout the game and what you actually do in those encounters. And they kind of kept surprisingly minimum reused assets in terms of what boss fights you have. And I think the ninja enemy is the perfect one to really kind of test your skill with in terms of elevating it with every new encounter.
That and making like the ultimate like samurai one in a field of red flowers was kind of genius.
Yeah, it was.
One boss fight I always prefer to skip though is the caterpillar.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's cool the first time, but afterwards,
if it requires me to grind rails around it for ages, I don't really want to do it.
I mean, that's the problem with Orinos, though. I think it's like you said, like it's too stingy, and then they give you like some of the most tedious fights in there. I still have a hard time thinking Sonic would have to just block robots that are running faster than him. I think that's a little insulting to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I don't like the cheaters.
Especially when it's not like, it doesn't make any sense when they're not robots that are being designed specifically to try to outspeed him.
And let me escape them as well. Like, don't lock me into it.
Yeah.
All of them are quicker than Metal Sonic.
Okay, so I'm not going to do a voice here because my voice is just running out at the moment. We've been going on for quite a while. But Mr. Krabs sends $4.99. Gru says, I stole the money. The End says, I became the moon. Vegeta says, I created a moon. Eggman says, I don't need to say it. And then Piccolo says, I blew up the moon in 1989. People really don't like the fucking moon, do they?
I think he's just pointing out cultural touchstones in media where the moon was used.
Yeah, and in how many of them did they explain it, you fucking fool?
Wait,
Anyways, Burger.
Piccolo, it was
explain
very
it.
well explained.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very well established in Dragon Ball
Nick,
what the moon
Burger.
represents.
Burger.
Hang on, did we? I just want to be sure. I just want to be sure it's me not properly paying attention. We did Crimson Rose, right?
No. The last burger.
No,
on
not
Crimson Road.
not the current last burger. I just mean the one before Mr. Krabs. I don't
Oh,
remember.
yeah, no, I'm
reading
We
that.
seeing
did not
that.
do that one.
I'm seeing
We
that.
did not.
Okay,
So if you want to
I'm-
grab that one, then I'll grab the next one after
Sure,
that.
sure. All right, Crimson Rose with $10. Thank you. One more thing. What if there was a mod that added more bosses to Frontiers to give it a similar feel to Shadow of the Colossus? Would you call it Sonic of the Titan?
That could be pretty cool. I'd like
That's
that.
that's cute. I would like Sonic to climb less.
I mean, they've already got,
I-
like, the, fucking Hedgehog May Cry mod, so why not do Sonic of the Titan?
Because I'd just give that to Knuckles. Make him the climber.
That's not...
I didn't like Sonic climbing. I didn't like him
I'm
climbing
not
in
even
this
fucking
game.
talking about him climbing.
Well,
I
the
mean,
Crimson
we
Rose
got
did.
to run up the Titans for the most part in the in Frontiers.
Where did she mention fucking climbing?
Well,
again?
Shadow of the
Because
Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus.
That's how you play Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus is climbing. Shadow of the Colossus, Pup, I think you would actually really enjoy. But that is a game that is nothing but like 12 boss battles, and it's against these colossi that are all fucking enormous, and you have to climb them and find out how to kill them. That's the game.
Sounds fun.
It's-
Dude, you would fucking
one of the
love it. It's a
greatest games.
masterpiece.
It's a fucking masterpiece. It's fucking incredible. Suris, I guess it's your turn.
Yep. Next one is Crimson Rose again. Just recently got Shadow the Hedgehog for PS2 for $28, and it's really stupid, like sub-brick dumb. But what do y'all think of that old game? There's also hashtag get that kid. So I had to play through that game again when I was making my my What If Shadow Died video, the second part that's coming out soon. Smacko's still working on the art for it. Nick and Wayne and Pup can tell you I was bitching a lot in our private chats when I was revisiting that game. That game did not make me happy.
The
Fair.
game is bad.
Oh, he's bad.
It's bad.
It's the equivalent of a lot of Sonic games. Hey, there's a lot of fun stuff in here, but it's really bogged down by a lot of stupid shit. Man, we're really close to something special. The difference here, though, as far as I'm concerned, the new elements there were fucking shit garbage, and then I think that's why I'm so positive on Frontiers, because the new stuff in Frontiers is real fucking fun.
You are positive on Frontiers?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm positive. I'm sorry. I have 6 months to live.
Jesus.
Oh no, not another one taken too soon by Frontiers.
We didn't ask if you were terminally positive.
So,
God's got another choir boy.
my view on Shadow the Hedgehog is...
Oh no. Oh no.
My view on Shadow the Hedgehog is it's trash. Now, I can enjoy trash. I enjoy a lot of, like, trash movies and stuff like that. Trash is fun. I think there's a place in the world for trash, but what I don't like is that you have to play all 10 outcomes to get the fucking ending. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's something where trash doesn't excuse it. You're asking me to get a little too into this trash, and I'm not willing to do that.
Well, see, that for me is like, that's where you start getting to the difference between trash and junk food.
What?
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, yeah. Well, anyways, like, I'm happy to dive into the trash. I just don't want to get that deep in the trash, and that is asking me to get too deep in the trash. This is the halal discussion again. Let's move along. So
Yeah,
Wayne,
your turn.
I've
champ.
got Crimson Rose with $2. Pup, I've come to make an announcement.
I like the moon.
And you like the moon. You like the moon.
Wayne, you got a small dick.
It's purple and it's scary and it's frightening and it's cool. Anyway,
You just
Both
did you
his
just-
dick and the
did you
moon.
just describe Thanos and your dick at the same time?
burger. I'm up with Sonic Fan 1661 with $2.
He just described his dick again. Why do you keep doing that?
I like that he tagged the burger, even though he knows which one to read.
The arguing is the best part, TBH. Well, damn. Well, in that case, let's bring up political matters and get in some real arguments.
Wait.
No. Wait.
Oh
God.
boy, I can't wait to have a headache on Sunset City.
Burger.
Just get Gilly drunk at a convention, and you'll have exactly that.
Get Wayne drunk at a convention.
Wayne,
and
in my
apparently he's just
defense,
gonna
I
go around
too-
losing his...
In my defense, I too was drunk.
No, I'm sorry. No, if you get Wayne drunk at a convention, it turns into Baby's Day Out. That's what
I'll-
fucking happens there.
I'll lose my phone and tell everybody I love them.
No, I remember.
Before going home to hang with your cool old friends.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God! All right, it's my turn.
Burger.
Okay. God damn it, Mr. SP. We really should just make a burger shirt, like a little Sonic patty in there. Mr. SP with $5. Oh no, my comment doesn't make sense anymore. Bring back the Afro Man. You got a little Sonic there with a giant Afro. You're fine.
Suris.
Can you just like can you make an edit pup to Gilly's model with the Rouge body, but instead of her chest, it's just two moons.
That would ruin it, so no.
He has to be able to fap to Gilly afterwards.
Oh,
Mr. Krabs, thank you for the $4.99. Master Roshi, I destroyed the moon before anyone, Eddie.
No.
Then Eddie from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I ate the moon. Majora's Mask moon. ... I am the moon.
Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. I landed on the moon. I don't know, but he did.
There you go,
that.
Pup. There's a new video for you. The greatest moons in gaming.
Starting with Wallace and Gromit: A Grand Day Out, which isn't even a video game; it's a fucking claymation short.
But you know what? You're not wrong.
But you can. Yeah, there
One of the
was
single
a
best depictions of the moon. I fucking love that short.
there was
God
a
damn it.
Wallace and Gromit video game, so they technically video game characters.
I don't know if they. Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is, you know, everything's video gaming when you think about it, and Wallace and Gromit: A Grand Day Out is the peak of all video gaming.
I'm sorry if you think everything's a video game when you think about it. I'm sorry. We're just gonna walk right by that one.
I just man, you act like anything Pup says makes sense.
My life is like a video game, trying hard to beat the stage.
I'm gonna have to watch A Grand Day Out once we're done here, guys.
No, you're watching that video I'm sending you.
I will do that, but goddamn it,
I think The
fucking
Wrong
love A Grand
Trousers
Day
is
Out.
my favorite of the Wallace and Gromit cartoons.
A Grand Day Out's definitely mine. I just loved the idea. I love the representation of the moon. I like the weird, silly, not low stakes adventure. Just what a. And I want to eat the moon.
Gromit, I've discovered some cheese in what I like to call my little hot pocket.
No.
Have you got any crackers, Gromit?
Oh God! I was actually trying to look up to see if there's like 2 Wallace and Gromit games, and I was hoping beyond hope. Like, is there a moon level?
I like the fact that with Wallace and Gromit, they got the guy that did the voice from the games to do Wallace's voice after the original actor died.
Yeah, I mean, if he's known to do the job correctly, then
Well, he wasn't that great in the games, but he really came into his strides when he started doing it full time.
yeah.
So, who's up next with the next burger? I think it's Wayne.
No, it's Suris. I did the
No,
last one.
Suris already read the Master Roshi one, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Okay, so is it the Sonic fan?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We're all Sonic fans.
Yeah,
Sonic-
you just
Sonic fan-
described everyone here.
Sonic fan 1661 with $2. So this is a possibility I'm just gonna. Was that a hedgehog coming on a moon?
Hedgehog
What is
pissing on the moon, probably in this reference.
that? Oh,
Is it
okay.
possible
It's a
that
hedgehog.
Shadow could piss on the end?
It's a Sonic squirting on the moon.
Should it not be an
Oh,
egg? Should it not be an egg? Eggman?
Maybe.
Squirting
It
on the
looked
moon?
so cute. I had to shave it.
God damn it.
This is all very fucked up. Okay, so final super chat then, because we're at the cutoff point now anyways. Crimson Rose sends $5. So Sonic is basically Superman of his universe or Goku of his universe. I'm done sending muns. See, that was a good way to cut it off. I mean, I've always said
Neither.
that.
He's the Captain Planet of his universe because he has to go through some bullshit to actually be able to access his superpowers.
I've always said that Sonic, to me, is, like, characterization-wise, the Superman of his world, and Shadow's the Batman of his world. I'm gonna double down on it. I don't care, Nick. Fuck you.
I think he is just in terms of Sega's just turned him into just the pariah.
A pariah
Next
is a
thing
bad
you're gonna
thing, Nick. Pariah is a negative. You're thinking of Messiah.
Oh, thank you. You're right. I'm just a dummy that doesn't know words. This is why I edit my scripts.
Next thing you know, every single Sonic game's going to have Sonic dying, and he's going to have his hands laid out in space, and it's going to look almost like he's on a cross, but not quite.
I mean, he has come back from the dead.
Listen,
So-
you're taking
Multiple
pot shots
times.
at Man of Steel, but if
No,
anything,
this is a lot of Superman media. It's a lot of Superman media does this shit.
if
And
any
it's fucking terrible
Sonic
every
thing
time.
comes out as good as Man of Steel, I'll be a happy camper.
I love Man of Steel, but no, that shit was
Great.
that shit was weak.
It was great. Fuck you.
I don't care
he's
enough
such a
about-
messiah. So much.
No,
so
no,
much of a
no.
messiah.
Why
that he
wouldn't
murdered
you
his
make the
entire-
Jesus
Stop, Wayne.
comparison? At the end of the day, he's a guy that's come to Earth. He's all powerful. Why wouldn't you make the connection?
Because he murdered his entire race in that movie.
He didn't murder them. They murdered themselves.
No, fuck
Their
that.
philosophy-
Batman murdered people in Man of Steel, and Superman was directly responsible for the death of his entire species.
How was he? They came, for starters, his entire species got blown up in
Wait.
Krypton because the politicians were not willing to do anything about the environmental crisis that was impending on them. And then Superman comes to Earth and becomes one of them. It's not his fault General Zod happened to be a fucking warlord stuck in his ways, fucking programmed to fucking destroy his new homeworld. I don't blame him if he did fucking
I
kill
am
off
the-
the last of his species.
It still doesn't change what he did.
I am the
He
exact
snapped
person to
Zod's
not.
neck, and that is it. He didn't kill Feora. He didn't kill the big boy. He didn't kill the other one. I don't think there was another one. He just killed Zod, and he did it because he had to.
I'm the exact person that should not be commenting on any of this
Then
because
don't.
I'll get into details that'll make everyone uncomfortable.
Pup is the Stuart Jip of comic book opinions.
That is a lie.
God damn.
Nope. I think I'm actually willing to die on that hill with Wayne.
Pup, haven't you flat out said you don't read comics?
No.
I thought you said that one time.
No, I jokingly said, no, I don't read comics. I don't read anything. I can't read.
Oh, fair enough.
I've said that I haven't necessarily read every single fucking Superman story, this, that, and the other. But, like,
I don't think everybody has. I mean, who's got the fucking time?
that's the thing, is I haven't read a lot of, like, the sort of the long continuing storyline stuff like that. I more read kind of... Like, my way of reading comics is generally find an artist you like, find out what they did, buy a compendium of their work, basically.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, yeah. But fuck you. Man of Steel's good. I don't fucking care.
I like it too. I like that movie.
Yeah. So how am I
It's a good
fucking
movie.
Stuart Jip for liking that fucking movie? Shut the fuck up.
Nobody said for liking the movie. It's about the nuances of your opinion. But if you don't want to get nuanced about your opinion, that's fine.
I'm just explaining what happened in the movie, mate. I don't know.
I'm sure you are.
I'm so fucking tired.
Where's your fucking film degree, huh, Wayne? Anyways,
I have an animation degree which includes writing, so fuck you.
yeah. Well, I have one that doesn't just include writing, it's in the title, so fuck you. Anyways, the Skeleton is here to fucking abolish you into the Shadow Realm, starting with you, Wayne, as a fucking smart-ass putz. Die. There we go. Alright, now, this is the end of the show, I think. Wayne, I'm joking, by the way. No hard feelings. But, yeah.
Oh, we get flastic
What a
feelings
coward.
around here.
What are we doing then?
We gotta wrap this up so we can get to the orgy.
So I can get back to playing Unipop. I mean,
So I can get to finally have my fucking
Whoa,
dinner.
whoa, hang on.
Unipop?
Uni?
is it Uni? Is it Uni or funny?
It's
Is it
honey pop. Holy fucking shit!
Guys,
Dude, I don't fucking know. It's
Wayne,
it's
what are you
cookie
doing? What's
Uni.
new on
It's
your
spelled with an I. It's
What's
spelled
new
with
on your
a-
channel,
an
Wayne?
IE.
What is new on
right?
your channel, Wayne?
He's gonna make a video about how the
Nothing.
fuck to pronounce honey
Literally. Why are you so defensive about how the name of that game is pronounced?
He's
sir?
working on his
No, guys, really,
Digimon
please, can we not? Guys, can we?
video.
Guys, can we?
I'm working on Digimon and the visual rebrand of my channel. Same thing as the past couple of weeks. It's a process.
Very cool, Suris.
I'm working on nothing. Goodbye.
Very well, Nick.
We're gonna finish editing up a speed reading today. That'll be out for patrons later, and for everybody else either tomorrow or sometime this weekend. New stuff very soon. We're gonna have 2 more videos before the end of the month. Oh, what are you up to?
I right now have a video out going into depth about why Sega isn't really making level reuse work in Sonic games, and how they could make it work, even though I personally think they shouldn't. So that's my latest video. I don't actually know what's coming next, but I will be covering the storybook games quite soon.
Very cool. And we should probably reemphasize, did we ever post the Patreon link anywhere?
Patreon link is in the description of this video, and will be in the description of every video going forward.
Put it in the chat as
So,
well,
yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, if anybody wants to pitch in here, we're gonna wrap things up, and we're gonna just hang out for a little bit, and
Yeah, stick your tips
Sure.
deep in our jars. There we go. Fucking...
there you go.
And there it is.
Perfect.
I'm definitely not going to be going back to play my Dreamcast. I'll tell you that. Because my Dreamcast is dead, and I'm sad about it.
Enjoy.
Don't you hate it's just like a few days after Gilly told you about that mod?
Well, he was also talking about a disk drive mod. Mine's a power supply issue, so we were talking about
Oh, that
different
sucks.
things.
That sucks.
It can be replaced, but I don't have the time or the money to work on that right now, and I'm sad because it was like I was in the middle of playing Skies of Arcadia when it just gave up, and I'm upset now.
I don't blame you, man. That fucking blows. There's still something
Yeah.
special about playing on original hardware.
I spent $130 on that game, and now I can't play it, and it was my escape game while I'm dungeon crawling through this fucking slog that is Digimon World 2, so... Alright, it's fine. It's fine. Wayne's not allowed to be happy. It's okay.
Yeah, world's telling you to finish that fucking
Wayne is
shitty
sad.
game.